everything new. You got the soldier in this bad army who will probably go away from the two of them connect. And you got this old timer who's just going around with a pistol and doing all kinds of things and bounty hunting. It's like, wow. But no, it was nothing like that at all when I started. But what did you think of the first 4 episodes so far?
Are you asking me?
Or anyone?
I thought Narc was going to go next.
Yeah,
I was, but
sorry,
then I had
Narc,
to fix a technical problem. The YouTube was not
Want me
actually
to keep
running
going?
and some other stuff. So
Want me to keep
Welcome
going?
to
yeah,
Rampancy.
keep
I
going.
can keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so the other thing that surprised me about this series, and I don't see any series actually doing this, because this is not a remix of a storyline. This is not an in-between story. This is not a prequel story. And it's not a remake of a story like, Halo is. This is a continuation of the Fallout storyline. Because if you look at when it says so many years later after the bombs fell, this series takes place in 2296. For context, the latest game in the Fallout timeline was Fallout 4, which took place, what was that, 87? 2287? So this series is actually at the front of the storyline after all these games, and it's not even pretending to be detached or anything like that. It is attached. So, and I'm seeing it's like, and I'm asking all these questions like, geez, it's not trying to discount anything. And Nolan was pretty much right when he said it's like we're making Fallout 5 here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that is just so refreshing that they're going to say this series is going to be the next chapter in the Fallout story moving forward. Because, I mean, you look at something like Star Wars now, it's like this next series is going to be set before the prequels.
I have to admit, I don't understand the desire to keep doing prequels, really, because I think they're just making continuity problems for themselves. Like they're always gonna be some. There's gonna be several elements in the show we can look at and say, I've never seen that before. If that existed in the universe, why didn't I see it before? And I think specifically there about the squire having the big golf bag as he's following the knight, the Brotherhood knight around. Like that's not referred to anywhere that I remember. We certainly didn't see that happening in Fallout 3 or in New Vegas or in Fallout 4. So some people are going to say, well, that couldn't have been a thing. That couldn't have been a thing. If it had been a thing, I would have seen it before. But it's so funny and it's so symbolic of what that group is like that I'm like, oh, I like that. That fits tonally in the universe. It's silly. Watching these people
representative.
Yeah, the guy with the big power armor is walking around by himself being a big, huge jerk, and he's making this guy with no equipment carry this huge, unwieldy, heavy bag that he's
looks like
struggling
a golf
with.
Bag. It looks like an enlarged golf
It's an
bag filled with his
oversized golf
guns.
bag, and it is hilarious, and I loved it. And you know what was even weirder? Here, let me switch over.
He's a night caddy is what he is, and what kills me is like, I'm sorry, couldn't they have put the wheels with a handle on it to make his life easier?
Sure.
But no, he's wrapping his hands around it, waddling around. It's like, oh my God, that's so funny.
So here, let me cut quickly to the game. And that's a thing that's never appeared in any of the games. And there it is. It's being promoted inside Fallout 76 as part of a promo for the show. There's the ghoul and there's Maximus with his helmet and the golf bag full of guns.
The golf bag full of guns.
Yeah, and I also like it because
awesome.
it's a great in-game shooter explanation for, hey, how is it that all these game characters are able to carry around a dozen
80 billion
large
guns,
weapons?
right, yeah.
Well, because they got some unseen character following them around with a golf bag full of weapons.
That's why.
My favorite was always Guybrush Threepwood's pulling the Q-tip out of his pants for the monkey ear.
Yeah, Deca says, its own self-contained story universe between 4 and the future 5. And to me, that is good enough that it's universally representative. It's like, hey, we know what the Fallout universe is. We know what the fans have. We know what's in the games. Let's make something that not only respects the source material. There's an ironic idea, respecting what you're working on, but also it allows you some creativity and to bring something new to it, not as fan service, but a continuation that maintains the nuances of the universe in a logical progression. And
there was
that's
some
something
fan service.
Huh?
It was
there's lots
the
of fan
perfect
service.
amount of fan
Well,
service.
no. See, the fan service is subtle. It's not overt. There's one things with fan service that is just in your face. Remember this. It wasn't member berries.
If you
it wasn't that way at all.
If you were a bigger fan of Fallout, I think you would see more of the fan service as being really
you'd see
blatant.
You'd see more of it,
but still okay.
But it wouldn't be as intense.
Yeah,
and that's the cool thing. Because it's not always in your face.
I was going to bring this up later, but they do have an extremely short scene where someone gets shot through the chest with the leg of a doll, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
yeah. They showed
immediately
that.
after that, you do see someone kind of carrying around a big heavy thing that basically looks like an Electrolux vacuum cleaner, because that's essentially what it is. This is an in-universe weapon, the junk jet.
The junk jet.
You can use it. It is the first of the heavy weapon class that's available to you in Fallout 3. It's a thing you can craft from a recipe given to you by Moira Brown in Megaton. And the idea is that because Fallout 3 doesn't really have a very extensive crafting system, but there's a lot of junk around in the universe, just so rooms and places aren't empty. So there's lots of baseballs and tin cans and piles of old world money and clothes and bowling pins, all kinds of small stuff. And any of these junk items are ammunition for the junk jet. And because they're actual physical items, when you fire them at characters, they exist out in the world. So after you've defeated those enemies, you can just go and pick those back up again.
Pick those up again,
and put them back in. So it's like one of the most efficient heavy weapons in terms of ammo. And I think one of the most effective projectiles for it is actually pre-war money, because it either weighs the minimum number of units or weighs nothing.
Or like 0.1 or something.
And although I don't remember if damage on that weapon scales with weight, but whatever it is that it does have a minimum value. So it's never zero. So even for a weight zero item, it does some damage. So you can just have piles and piles and piles of pre-war money and use it as bullets for the junk jet. It's awesome.
Right. But okay, but to me, would you want something with some mass for some heft if you wanted to penetrate targets? Because otherwise that would turn it into a stripper money gun.
People actually use that gun in normal gameplay. It's mostly just for fun.
I do. But normal gameplay is supposed to be fun. I mean,
oh yeah, that's
yeah, Deca says killing somebody with a terminal velocity teddy bear.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
stuffed animals are all valid ammo for that gun.
Yep. No, that would be cool.
And in Fallout 4, because this was an unmodded junk jet that this guy was using, you could add the electrocution module that makes all the items you shoot electrical, or the ignition module, which makes all things you shoot on fire.
Yep. Okay.
Nice.
So anyway, there was one particular item that I wanted to bring up, and I have some screen captures for that, because I would say...
Is it Matt Berry?
No.
Oh, okay.
The look
that was
of
a
everything
super joy for me
in the trailers was very good. And I was like, hey, they're really playing a lot of detail. Like I could easily see that you would hire an artist to say, hey, we're going to do a alternative history, post-apocalyptic, retro-futurist hero, show, and we want you to make some cereal boxes. And an artist would say, oh, that's great. I have a dozen ideas. And they'd be like, no, we made this one. Make it look like this. We want a box of sugar bombs. We already made it. Make it look like that. And then the artist would go,
yes.
And if they're not all fans, they're going to feel restricted. But they did put in a lot of the items from the game, and everything looks great. But I also think that in addition to that, this is a series of games that since Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4 has had kind of cinematic aspirations. They want to borrow the vocabulary of the visual language of movies and TV shows to create their settings, to introduce their characters. But I think the first segment of the first TV show episode did mostly what Fallout 4 was trying to do, but did it significantly better. And so I took some screen captures to kind of illustrate that. So here...
So here we're doing the compare and contrast with the openings?
Yeah. So Fallout 4 has got two opening sequences. They've got a pre-rendered trailer that is shot in black and white with real actors and props. And the first thing it does, both of these segments kind of have an arc where first they show you the idyllic, unspoiled, American nostalgia, 1950s version of the future. And then they take that away and they break it. So this scene, this is supposed to be kind of the wife and child of a soldier who's away at war. We've got the rose bush and the brick planter outside the suburban house. We're showing that we are at war though. So we've got, these big B-52 type planes. And a point where both the Fallout universe and our universe are, if not the same, then at least pretty similar, is up to and including World War II, which is ended by the use of nuclear weapons by the United States. That part is the same.
I think those were more B-24 Liberators.
Could be.
B-52s are jets.
Yeah,
Those
the B-52s are jets with like 8 engines. But it's funny because I did see it crash 29 in the TV show.
I don't think that's the point.
No, but I just wanted to dump on Dark's lack of military knowledge there with the Air Force. Because I'm sure somebody out there started banging on the keyboard the moment he said it.
Right.
That's a nice lab scene.
So, but then what happens is that we're from the 1950s to the 1980s in our universe is where you get the, hey, is the world going to end in nuclear fire? In this version, it falls off for a bit because the bombs don't drop in the Fallout universe until 2077. So that's a bit down the road. So what happens is that we get peaceful uses of nuclear technology in the consumer market. The development of nuclear power. And so we've got shots here of, again, idyllic American highway, nuclear-powered public transportation. You've got energy plants in the games that look very much like this. A lot of them run by a company in universe called Poseidon. Domestic robots. So we've got here, you've got the Mr. Handy. It's out there trimming the hedge. I don't remember if these are nuclear-powered or not. There's a mix. There are filling stations in Fallout 4 that kind of offer that, like, your car might be nuclear or unleaded. They both exist.
I was going to ask about the hover jets with the robots because not only are they the quietest hover jet I've ever heard, I got to imagine that they're really going to heat up the interior of whatever building that they're in.
Yeah, they don't,
whatever plants they're above in flames.
Yeah, I mean the waste heat from that alone, but just the fact that a jet engine could be that quiet, I was like, wait a minute, seriously? That just kind of blew me away. So I thought that was funny.
Fallout's not really trying ever for realism. It's
no, I know, but I just thought it was I just thought it was hysterical. It's like you've invented the quietest jet engine
and I
ever.
don't know if it's in the first 4 episodes, but you do find out what powers this robot specifically, the Mr. Handy.
I was curious. And some of this, like a lot of the sound effects that these robots make idling are from the game. They are substantially the same as the game, either the same files or a thing that they've recreated for their own purposes that is basically the same.
Well, I love Matt Berry's Snip Snip. I got to say that was an absolute treat for me because I'm a big the It Crowd fan. And he was a substantial actor in that one. So getting a chance, him as the voice was just epic. It was perfect casting.
He was very good. And I think he has another role in it as well, because I think one of the...
Oh, does he?
Well, I saw him in another, either a trailer or another special feature where he was not in costume, like not as a robot. He wasn't doing the voice of the robot. So maybe he has another role, or maybe he was just appearing in that.
I can confirm if you want.
Go ahead.
He does play another role.
Okay, so he's in the latter 4 episodes.
Okay. Yeah, but the role he plays is the voice actor for the robot.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. So fine. Okay, fine. So it's in the flashback area then. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So you're retrofuturist, so fins, even longer fins than the real 1950s had, and all the cars are all bigger, wider,
really
bulbous. So this is what we get, and portable computers. We can see here a prototype Pip-Boy 1.0.
Pip-Boy 1.0.
Yeah, big, bulky, tiny screen, absolutely ridiculous.
It's an adding machine for your wrist.
Okay. But then this part of the trailer starts to kind of crest and say, well, then things go wrong. The resource wars, rampant consumerism. You see here the idea here that, the natural wasteland the natural environment has been spoiled by civilization, all these wires crisscrossing. This scene I always thought was really a reference to the inspiration for the whole thing, which was a boy and his dog, which is another apocalyptic story. And you got the 2 kids here fighting with the toy gun and the dog in the background. This shot, which is supposedly it's just a bunch of people running at a power plant. I'm not really sure what Bethesda thought they were doing with this. I think they're really stretching what their budget and capabilities were. I think maybe they should have shown something like a labor action, like a strike or something like that, something with signage, something that. But
is it supposed to mean civil unrest? Is that it?
It is supposed to be civil unrest. I don't know what these people. Are they running to the energy planet to steal the energy, to loot it, to grab for parts? I don't know what these people.
That's what Bethesda thinks energy is.
Maybe
everybody run for the coal.
Yeah, they also.
It's not a coal plant.
They don't really look dressed for it. I don't know. Are they going after radioactive isotopes? I'm not really sure. But again, I think this is the thing where the show has the expertise and the budget to go big on these kinds of things. And for this live action trailer, Bethesda really didn't. So this is what we got. This 10-year period also has the United States annexes Canada, sorry, and China attacks the United States in Alaska. So basically, this is Chinese paratroopers coming into Alaska.
And Operation Anchorage.
Yeah, and then we get to see which is the American effort to retake Alaska from the Chinese. And all of this has got accompanied by a voiceover that's delivered by the same voice actor who does the male player character in Fallout 4, who you never know the name of if you don't turn the subtitles on, because if you choose to play the female character, then your husband gets subtitles where you get to find out that his name is Nate and her name is Nora.
Mm-hmm.
And then we segue from this into the actual color. Here's Chinese soldiers in the United States driving by a church for the nice contrast there.
I love those things. I don't know why.
Are you sure those are Chinese soldiers?
The churches or the
missiles?
I think those are supposed to be. I don't know. It's not color, so I'm not sure what color the star is supposed to be. If it's not white, I don't know if those are our soldiers or Chinese soldiers.
Oh, it says U.S. Army. Yeah, that's a green. That's going to be an army green with the white star.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. I see that now. Okay.
Yep.
Either way, the contrast was supposed to be weapons next to church. The idea here is that war is a thing that happens here. War is not just a foreign thing that the United States goes off and does to be adventuresome. It's a thing that could happen here to you.
I didn't notice the church. Wow.
The church, I'm pretty sure, was supposed to be the other essential element of the image. Admittedly, the missile does kind of dominate it, which I suppose is the point.
Right, but Mike we still haven't got an answer to what Leah said. I really love those. What are we loving in this shot?
Missile trucks. I always thought they're kind of neat looking.
Oh, so the truck. Okay, all right. So you're talking about the tracked vehicle that is holding the SAMs.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
I can't look at those helmets that these soldiers are wearing and think someone made a recreation of those helmets and wore it on the Mandalorian.
Really?
I'm serious. One of these helmets is in the Mandalorian.
Oh, I mean, it's possible. There's a lot of times where prop houses, they will grab stuff from all over the place. I mean, there was stuff from
like that famous robot that was in every sci-fi movie.
Oh yeah. Well, technically, it was actually a remade version of that. He's talking about Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet. There was actually two. One of them, there was, strangely enough, I just saw a video on it a couple weeks ago. But the remake ended up in a lot more popular everyday things. So that's the one that you probably saw. In fact, one of them was just auctioned off for like $5 million. It was like the most expensive prop sale of all time or something. I mean, it was quite amazing. But the one of them ended up either being held on by the original or the people who actually built it for many years before it was finally found and some of it was restored. But yeah, no, a lot of props get recycled. I mean, I can remember stuff in Firefly that you saw in Paul Verhoeven's satirical sci-fi with the bugs. You remember all the armor?
Pig in the City. That was
that one. All the armor that they end up using, it was basically what they were using for Unionist soldiers in Firefly as the purple bellies. They simply took the helmets and they painted purple on a couple of parts of it and whatnot. So they recycle stuff from houses all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
But
So as
the
Decker
aesthetic
points
and the
out-
design of it though looks fantastic with the retrofuturism. I mean, it's just absolutely wonderful. I love the aesthetic. That and the music just completely sells it for me. I'm coming in this as not a Bethesda fan or a player of the game, but I'm absolutely enjoying the show for the production quality of what they're actually doing. So,
right. So, I mean, none of this is bad in and of itself. You know, we've kind of created a nice arc here. We've kind of got a mini black and white version of the rise and fall of the United States, right? Technology brought a bunch of other, a bunch of great stuff, but then scarcity caused by consumerism caused everything to go to heck, and technology just enables the war to be even more brutal than it ever was. And that's where you get that. The guy, he's in power armor, he's in Anchorage, he's looking sad about being war, and we're eventually going to cut into the color segment, which is the playable segment. So you got a Wizard of Oz thing going here where we're going from the past, which is a flashback and live action, into the playable space, which is in an American suburb, and it's now in color. And we're going to see some of these same props in the TV show in a little bit.
oh now yeah, the camera especially.
Now the playable segment here that ends with the bombs going off also has a little arc in it where we're starting off with what seems to be, a nice segment of a nice suburb. You've got a house with a husband and a wife, and a domestic robot inside, just like we just saw in the trailer. And there's the news announcer who's talking about, all the things that are going wrong in the world. And we find out later, they've been going on, if you look at the lore, been going on for quite some time. The United States has been at war, I think, for almost 10 years, and the threat of nuclear exchange has been hovering over the American population for a good portion of that time.
Is it weird that Meme and Pepe had a clock like that?
No, I mean, actually, a lot of it's weird. I can look at Fallout and my wife can look at the Chernobyl series at the same way, and we all see the furniture and housewares that our grandparents had at home.
Yeah.
Just
completely.
Slightly different ones. And I didn't get any captures of it, but basically there are some very mundane, but very positive and ordinary wife-husband conversations and exchanges in this bit where they talk about, hey, let's go to the park. He's talking about that he's going to give a speech in front of a veterans organization in the evening, and his wife is giving him a pep talk about doing that. But it's all very normal. So we've gone from America was great, and then it fell apart. Back to America is great again, and now we're going to need to break it again in a way that kind of makes these characters feel very silly for not being aware of the impending nuclear doom that is coming for them within minutes. So
I do love I gotta say though, I adore the Philco televisions everywhere.
Oh yeah, the Radiation King. Yeah.
Well, they call it the Radiation King, but yeah, it's actually a Philco TV. They actually made a real one that looks almost exactly like that. And in fact, there were two different types. There were one that they have like in the game there that you just showed, that has the little stand and the giant speaker with the knobs and the suspended CRT over with the brass angular holder. But there was another one that was actually a vertical higher stand type one, same CRT. It's just that instead of the little box with the feet on it, it was basically like a long skinny tube. And I always thought that those are some of the most beautiful design TVs of classic CRTs like ever. So I love the aesthetic of them using those. It's really, really cool for me.
Yeah. So what happens here in this exchange is that just before you find out that the bombs are dropping, that launches have been detected, this guy comes to your door and is giving you a questionnaire. We've actually played this on the channel, so that's why I wasn't going to go through the whole darn thing again. But he gives you a questionnaire, and he is somebody from Vault. He is from the company that makes the vaults. He has sold you and your family spots in a nearby vault, and he's supposed to be doing some kind of a customer survey, and that's part of your character build process for the game, is doing that. But then he's standing outside near his van when the bombs drop. And so he, along with everybody else in the neighborhood, is going to run towards the shelter. But of course, not everybody has bought a spot, so they don't all get in. He doesn't get in. He basically survives the exchange as a ghoul. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's the inspiration, but like Walt Goggins' character in the show, he is a pre-war person who survives as a ghoul. So he would also in the fiction be, more than 200 years old.
And Walt's awesome. I've loved Walt even from the S.H.I.E.L.D. days. I don't know if you ever watched the S.H.I.E.L.D. I was a huge fan of that show.
I really liked that they took that concept, which is totally missable in Fallout 4 if you just didn't
pay attention to
explore
deeply.
that, and made it a central story element. And it's surprising to me, it's surprising to me that Bethesda hasn't done that before. We've had weird ghouls in the first two games, but they didn't have. They didn't. I'm just really surprised they hadn't done it before. That's it.
Yeah. No, in fact,
central story element.
The entire vault experiment in Fallout 4 in Vault 111 is a way of avoiding doing that, right? Because if what you want is what they've just done, right, which is to have the same character bridge the gap from pre to post-apocalypse so that you are playing a pre-war character, the easiest way in the fiction to do that is for that person to be a ghoul. Instead, they basically make a unique vault that's doing cryostasis that you don't know about so that they can freeze you so that you can be in the future without being a ghoul, which they already knew was a thing because there are pre-war ghouls in the Fallout universe already. So it's kind of weird that they chose to do that. I guess they didn't want you to be a playable ghoul. Okay, so here's the other thing. So the family we've got there is the wife, the husband, and a baby. So the only child that's supposed to trigger you have a spouse, and Many a True Nerd did a great expose on this whole thing, basically poking a lot of holes in the kind of presumed affinity you're supposed to have with your spouse and your child that is really kind of not established, unsubstantiated within the fiction, and goes through so fast that it's hard for anybody to really care or give a damn about it at all, and we just get rushed up
big
here
time.
And they make a very atypical vertical vault entrance for this particular vault so that they can do this thing where you're standing on the top of this platform when a bomb blows up in the background so that they can then drop you down through the earth and the blast goes over your head. And of course, everybody who's really interested in the realism could say all those people are going to be sucked up out of that shaft by the negative pressure caused by the blast rushing over this hole, and you'd all be killed. But again, Fallout not interested in scientific accuracy or realism.
Yeah,
it's
Fallout
really not
follows
the point.
The rule of cool 100% of the time.
Absolutely. But you're barely given any time or reason to care for these people. That the infant is just a baby. It can't talk. It doesn't have a character. I'm not even, they barely give it a name so that then the character can whine on and on about that name forever. And it's the same name that was used in the damn David Cage game. So if you want to be doubly annoying about that.
Where is Sean?
Yeah, where's Sean? Where's Sean? Okay, so now this is from the TV show. So we've got some of the same kind of, set dressings, right? We've got a 50s style radio. We've decided to go color.
They don't have FM.
Instead of black and white. But we do have the TVs, and I would say they do
what about the plastic root beer mugs? The barrel.
They don't figure in my thesis.
Well, that's
what I would say is that
have to uninstall
whereas
now,
the
then.
previous two segments, the black and white pre-roll and the game setting, are both trying to follow an arc where we go from America being good to America falling apart, and they both try to do it. And I think they're trying to create tension between these ideas, the way a lot of David Lynch works, though, right? Like the way you see in something like Blue Velvet, everything, or Twin Peaks, right? Things appear to be pastoral, suburban, idyllic America on the surface, and then if we look another layer deeper, things are rotten and broken. But it does a poor job of doing it because these characters speak into a way that doesn't address this at all. And then the TV announces that the war is on, and they just get up and run, and there's no time to think or react to anything. Like literally, the character doesn't get a chance to react to anything until 200 years has passed, you've woken up, your spouse has been killed, and the first thing you react to, honestly, is a giant roach. That's the first thing that's happened. From the nuclear war all the way to that, the first thing the player character gets to honestly react to is like, oh my god, a giant roach, what's going on? The TV show, though, lets people and shows people reacting to it. So here we have, this is the child's birthday party scene. We've got the TV on and the newscaster's talking about how there's no comment from the White House and nobody knows where the president is. And she goes and she turns it off. because this is a birthday party. Everybody's supposed to enjoy yourself. So like right now, characters in the world are already acknowledging the tension, right? People are aware of how bad things are. They're not ignoring it. They're trying to ignore it, but they're not pretending it's not there. They're not acting as if it's not there. They're acknowledging
they want to act like it's not there for the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, so here she is. She's coming in to turn that off, to tell everybody, hey, we're trying to enjoy ourselves. Got a nice view there in the back. We got Vault-Tec colors on the balloons. I really love what they did with this character. I really love that basically that this one image told you so much without anybody having to say anything. I saw this image and I hadn't read that much about what the character in the pre-war world was supposed to be like, but I looked at that and said, he's a washed up TV actor who's doing child's birthday parties. And that is exactly what it is. And it's really fantastic how efficiently they were able to encode that. And since I had seen the trailers that also have him being a salesperson for Vault-Tec, I'm like, oh, okay, I see they're gonna connect these. And by the time they get to episode 4, they seem to be suggesting even that Vault-Tec chose the colors based on the color of this character's costume, which I think is
absolutely
great.
That is very cool.
Is it? It's genius. Deca says that, there's a storyline in 76 about other cryo experiments involving space, which apparently was Vault-Tec's goal. He says,
if anyone's interested on this screen, that is a Kodak Brownie Hawkeye. You can even see where it says Hawkeye, and they just had the guy's ring finger cover Kodak, because Kodak somehow doesn't exist in this world, even though Kodak's ancient.
Totally. And yet my uncle worked at Kodak for 25 years, and we had these very cameras.
Yeah. Well, we had Brownie cameras. I think ours was a little newer than this. That flash bulb is bigger than anything we ever had. So our Brownie was
only
a 70s Brownie, not a 50s Brownie.
Only one of them had the flash though. But no, Arthur had this cam. This very one.
I miss proper cameras.
The flash unit, they're virtually worthless now, but the flash unit is those broke a lot. And
big time.
I'm surprised that they found one with I guess I'm not surprised. They could with $150 you can get a working one of those. But they normally don't. They're normally busted.
I'm sure if it had a problem that
prop store.
These set techs could handle a repair job for it. Deca says, you can protect the cryopod immediately. You have to do that yourself. But as far as the aesthetics and the design for it, they're consistent throughout. And for fans of the games like you guys, I have to see that you'd be able to pick out a lot more for all the things representative in the game. Personally, for me, I just adore the style and the aesthetic. I was always a big retro futurist fan. I don't know if anybody's heard or played the game out, The Invincible, that also uses that exact same aesthetic in a space environment, which I'm dying to play through. I've watched tons of videos on it, and I'm really looking forward to it. But for the TV show and everything, I thought the guys for the props and the set design and the art department, big golf clap for them. They did a fantastic job.
They did good, and I think that we mentioned it a couple times. We'd see some of the brands and the cereal boxes and stuff that we've already seen in universe, and I think that for someone who hadn't played the games, they didn't dwell on those long enough for people I don't think they dwelled on any of the in-universe callbacks long enough for people who didn't play the games to notice that they were callbacks and notice that they should be missing something. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
They didn't hover. They didn't
know that you're missing a reference.
They were subtle. They weren't overt. They weren't trying to stick it in your face like, look, here's the thing. Well, that's what we were talking about before. It's like the whole way they do this, they weren't playing member berries with it. They were literally just, they were respecting the source material a lot more than you get in similar types of showcases, especially when changing one story or idea from one medium to the next. And you can always tell that when somebody does it well, whether they respect the material or not, based not only on how much they either change or vary it, if at all, but also how it's presented in this world. And to me, it's like they're just going with it, and the universe is the universe, and we're gonna respect it as well as we can. So I hope the fans like it as much as I did. You know, for all the gamers out there, I'm sure they're absolutely going to dissect it frame by frame, instance by instance. They're going to be measuring fonts on posters to make sure the curves are accurate. You know, everyone loves dissecting the details. But
I do have some criticism from the internet that
I figured you would.
With.
You know,
I've been avoiding
wrong on the internet.
I've been off Reddit the whole week, so I haven't seen anything. Decca says he's played the Invincible, that we will love it, and he won't spoil it.
Yay!
So that sounds good.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I would say a good example of a call out that goes by so quickly and naturally that people who know it's a call out will appreciate it and no one else will notice anything happened is that in the vault sequence, Overseer McLean is talking to his daughter. It's played by Kyle MacLachlan. And he just goes to her and says, "My little sugar bomb." Like, that is not just a reference, but it is using an in-game item, the sweet cereal, as a term of endearment for a character in a very natural and ordinary sounding way that I think if you don't get that it's a reference, probably just works just as well, even though you don't know it and doesn't really draw much undue attention to itself. But everybody else is like, "Oh, okay, I see what you did there." And it, I thought that was cute.
Oh, I definitely got that as soon as you said it, and I've never heard it before.
Yes, I think it functions really well. In fact, I think it's actually informative in that even though that's not showing you a cereal box, that's telling you something about the world that says, "Oh, okay, he's probably using that in a certain way because there's something like that, and it makes sense that he said that." And so it's informing you a little bit about the world. And then when you see a cereal box, you're like, "Oh, okay, I get it. That's what he was doing." Okay, so my
question is, Lucy McLean, the character's name, is that an homage to Die Hard? Because you remember,
it's not spelled the same.
It's not, it's not spelled the same. But I was wondering if that's what they were going for, because Lucy McLean was Bruce Willis's daughter in the original Die Hard. And she had actually been featured in a couple of the movies, but mainly the first one where she picks up the phone and goes, "Lucy McLean speaking." So I wasn't sure if that's what they were going for, and they just subtly changed the spelling to prevent getting sued. So I wasn't sure if that was a thing or not, or whether Lucy McLean was something, or the name McLean was, historically in other games throughout the series, and they just happened to pick her as a potential descendant. I wasn't sure of that.
No, so. As far as I can tell, they are talking about that name as being important because other characters recognize it as being significant. But as far as I can tell, that significance mostly exists within this story and not as a reference to other parts of the Fallout lore, as far as I know. But again, since I haven't seen the back half, there may be something to that.
But the name for you who have played all the games, it hasn't jumped out at you and say, "Oh, that's so-and-so of whoever," because this is a totally different vault. If I'm correct,
there are Fallout lore experts who are far better informed than me, so that may just be a thing that I've forgotten or don't know. So,
well, before I started the series, I actually watched on YouTube. Somebody had literally broken apart the entire history of every single vault that is known and went through all of them one at a time. And I watched that before I watched the series, and it was very helpful for getting a sense of history as well as a sense of individuality for histories with the vaults. So
was that Oxhorn?
I wanted to find it. I'm literally going through my YouTube history trying to find it. I can't remember the names of who did it, so I'll have to look for it later.
Really popular Fallout lore YouTuber who kind of got quasi canceled for being problematic. I don't watch him anymore, but those videos still exist, and they're like dramatic readings. Like, he will go through and he will read every terminal. He will read every in-game item. Anyway, okay, so
recitation.
Yeah, so I want to go through this. So this is the second time that the mother comes over and adjusts the TV. This is the scene. The weatherman basically is talking about there's no point in predicting the weather if you don't know the world's going to be here next week. And and here I would say this is a much better thing, rather than just showing the baby in the crib and saying, "Oh my God, it's terrible that something bad is going to happen to your baby because nuclear war." This works better. This is a bunch of children old enough to be interacting with this content, that they may be seeing this. They're seeing adults on television talking about the possibility of nuclear war. And she's like, "No, we're not doing this today. We turn this off." And she changes it to the Grognak cartoon, which is an in-universe comic book. And this is presented by, I think is that Sugar Bombs? Yeah, that's the Sugar Bombs.
Yes, it's Sugar Bombs.
There.
Yep.
And there's Grognak, which is kind of like
I did not notice
Tarzan
Jack
slash.
the Barbarian.
You did?
When I saw the TV show.
You did? Oh man, I totally
I'm really
saw that.
excited that made it in there.
Yeah. That's great.
I think I found the guy. I think it was it's a YouTuber called Wisefish. So props out there to
I don't know
Wisefish.
that one. I'll have to look. Send me a link to that because I might want to see that one.
It's called Every Vault from Fallout, Full Fallout of Vault Lore. So I'll send you a link.
Great. Yeah, send me a link.
Now, well, hold on, go back to that last shot real quick. I want to talk about, I know this, I'm slightly ruining your thesis here, but I just want to mention something, and then maybe we can bring it up later. This whole damn series was shot on extremely fast, wide-angle lenses. It's fucked up, and it fucked up all of the edges of everything. You can see a circular bouquet, the out of focus elements in the trees, and you can see massive distortion on the left side, and I just hate it. All right, continue.
Really? I think the DPs picked that purposefully because they wanted to have that look. They wanted to give it a certain aesthetic tile. I would have to think the director of photography, it was intentional because not to mention
and he's wrong for doing it.
This also may be,
if it was a setting in a game, I would turn it off.
Well, see, the thing is that if they had to shoot this with using a lot of ambient light, they would probably want as fast a lens as they could get, and maybe they couldn't get around that. I don't know.
I'd have to
was
look
shot
it up
digitally. This must have been shot digitally. I'd be curious.
Yeah.
But, well, not to mention where the locations, because a bunch of locations, I swear to God, when they were going out in the surface world after the nuclear attacks, I swear there were a bunch of scenes that looked exactly like ones from another TV show I watched called Life After People, where they go around to different areas in the world that have been abandoned or destroyed or left to their own devices for decades. And one of them was Kolmanskop in South Africa. And, you know, the entire building's decrepit and falling apart, filled to the brim with sand. And it looked exactly like the scenes where she was cascading, walking through, you know, seeing the ships half covered and the buildings where the ghouls were. It literally looked exactly like that. So I'm terribly curious where they shot it. I want to find out, because if they didn't shoot it there, they shot it in another town that had also been abandoned for at least 40 years. Because it looked exactly the same. It really
There's a couple places
looked well
in California that have had that happen.
Yeah, like old mining towns from the 1900s. Yeah, it was quite shocking. I was like, oh my God, I'm literally watching Life After People. Yeah. So
there may be a specific reason for it, and I have a feeling is this. Like, for instance, in Fallout 4, the neighborhood that you live in that becomes your first settlement area, which is Sanctuary, which is based on a real location, a little island in Massachusetts. But what they put on it in universe in Fallout were these houses that were made out of aluminum, like specifically like houses with like their walls, their floors, their ceilings, as well as their roofs, all made of aluminum. Like the houses are literally magnetic. And these were a real thing that existed in the real world. They were like prefabs that they would ship to you and assemble on site. And they put these things in Fallout around this area. I have a feeling that these houses here, while they're not that style, are something else very specific that they wanted the visuals of. In other words, the kind of 60s and 70s designs here. We've got the big floor-to-ceiling windows with sliding doors or door walls,
that was more
as
of a
they say in some areas.
Than a 50s thing, yeah.
But I have a feeling is that they probably wanted to shoot in a real instance of this architecture, and then they wanted these particular shots where they need the adults, they need the children, they need the cake, they need the windows, they need to be able to show the car in the background, they need to be able to get the TV set in there. All these items have to be both visible and parsable. And I think that may have driven the decision of, well, what lens are we using? Again, using an extremely wide angle lens, because
like I said,
we don't know how far back this camera is.
Yeah.
It's probably right behind this kid, and they still need to get all of that in the shot.
Not to mention, I mean, what kind of 1K, 2K, 4K can you stick in that kind of a room to get the lighting that you need? I mean, the lenses are so much faster nowadays. And I'm assuming this was shot digitally, though, but again, I could be wrong. But as far as the look of the houses, the floor to ceiling, window panes and everything was a very, not only California thing, but I think it was more 60s and 50s. Yes. So it doesn't totally wreck the retrofuturism, but it still looks great. And yeah, I mean, seeing the car in the background, seeing the bright sunny day, everything looks all idyllic. Yeah, it works very, very well. So I think the DPs knew what they were doing, regardless of what level of acceptable bokeh that Funkmon seems to think it should have or have done.
Yeah. So we've established here in a way that I think Fallout 4 opening sequence really doesn't, about the way in which what's going on in the world represents a threat, not just to the, like, if the bombs go off, children will be killed, because that's a very basic thing. What we're talking here about is the parents being afraid of children knowing that something like that might happen and being afraid of it. And having to explain to them and not wanting to explain to them. That's shown here by changing the channel when the weatherman who's doing his day job is saying, I can't go on. I can't do this anymore. You know, I'm so unsure when I go to work every day whether the world's still going to be here tomorrow that I cannot do my job. You know, people are coming unraveled here, and somebody's trying to intervene and make sure that the kids don't see that. And then we get a big contrast, because there's a scene here where Walt's daughter is asking about this, hey, earlier there was this thing, those guys wanted you to do your signature thumbs up move and you didn't want to do it. And then they call him a pinko. They call him a communist, basically for being depressed about the state of the world that's caused by the US being a bunch of warmongers. And he explains it by telling a story from when he was in the Marines. This story that he basically says that, well, they told him that if they ever dropped a really big bomb, you should hold your thumb up in front of the cloud. And if your thumb is bigger than the cloud, you should run. And then she asks, well, what happens if the cloud is bigger than your thumb? And he says, well, then they told you not to bother. I thought that worked so well.
Oh yeah,
that was
absolutely
fantastic.
Really
and that
to be honest, the only thing else that you would have expect is, like, in the middle of them watching the television show with the kids, there was a stop, drop, and roll advertisements for the kids and families. You know, that would be the only other thing that you could add to that. But no, the thumb was perfect. The thumb was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Fallout 76 has a bunch of little animated rolls that are intended to be parodies of that same kind of thing. You know, the little PSA of, like, so you're living in a nuclear wasteland. Well, this is what you have to do. You know, those kinds of things. And they're funny, but they don't, like, Fallout is all over the place tonally, right? It's got a lot of very serious stuff where you're like, oh my God. I can't believe they just did that in a video game. Like, there's some really dark stuff about people, what had happened to them during the war or in the time after it. In 3 and in 4 and even in 76, which is a much lighter toned thing, generally speaking.
Which game had the scene where you go into some guy's house and he's got his family, who are now feral ghouls, chained up in the basement? I think he was obviously a ghoul at some point.
Group Manor in Fallout 4. And I believe there are a bunch of logs there about him, like, trying to keep them alive and to look for a cure. And then, of course, as usual happens in Fallout 4, is that the player character comes in and kills everything. And that's a thing that you're doing quite usually.
And then robbing him blind.
Yeah. that too, especially in Fallout 4.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, there's a reference to probably the most overt thing that I noticed. There's a reference that the ghoul character makes at some point in the series. I think it might be in the middle of the series, where I think he says, like, the one of your maybe it's like the biggest rule in the wasteland is you always get sidetracked by a bunch of dumb shit.
Yeah, I love that quote. Like that's great.
My wife and I burst out laughing at that line, just because it is such a video gamey thing in general, but a Bethesda game thing in specific. Like, you know, like thou will be sidetracked by bullshit.
It's too accurate. It is just absolutely too accurate.
Oh yes,
it's on the nose.
And you know what? I have to admit, the way the scene was structured, I had kind of forgotten because they first it seemed focused on the thing that they were doing in that scene, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Well, I give up. We're going to go do something else." And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of random." But then we see why he's doing that, which is the thing they seem to. I think that they've added into the Fallout universe, which was not there before. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so then she holds up her thumb. And they hold up both of their thumbs. And of course, this is a thing that the Vault Boy character, that is the mascot for Vault-Tec, is known for.
Is
the
constantly
thumbs up
doing it,
gesture. And so these are all tied together now in the sense that it seems like his cowboy character was doing that before. And it's in Fallout because it's Vault-Tec because of him.
Well, here's my question. Is that reference to the nuclear detonation thumb scale device? Is that mentioned in any of the other games or any of the other Bethesda media?
Not at all. As far as I can tell,
to be honest,
that is whole cloth.
Now, if that's an addition,
if you've got a smaller thumb, you got to be farther away to survive.
Well, that's just it. But
that's what happens next. The very next scene is this scene, right? The child, he's gone away to get her a slice of cake. And while she's sitting there outside the house with the plate glass behind her, looking out over that vista into the city,
which again is needlessly shot in a wide.
The bombs are dropped.
Goes off.
And she holds out her thumb, and he comes down, and she asks, "Your thumb or mine?"
Thumb or mine? Yeah, I know. But see, that whole scene just means that not only did they add something to it, but it gave it such a weighted context that completely brings an intensity to it for, a viewing audience that never saw or played the games or whatnot, that wasn't there, but is now indicatively tied to both now. Now everyone playing the game is going to look at that scene and remember those lines. And I think that's great. I think that's really, really good. That's a point where there's a good addition that's respecting the material, but also bringing something new to it. So I love that stuff.
I don't remember that anywhere in any of the other games. For all I know, that might have been
if you don't remember it,
that might be a real story from the real world, or who knows? Like maybe U.S. military people have said that to each other about this. I have no idea, or they just made it up completely.
Yeah, for early '50s military testing, I wouldn't be surprised if it's real.
It's what they taught to school children. And then about, 5 years ago or so, it became a very popular internet urban legend that's what Vault Boy's thumbs up is referencing.
Oh, really? So maybe they added it from that.
About. Yeah,
cool.
Correct. Vault Boys just has a thumbs up. It just happens.
Yeah, it's been a fan theory for years, though.
So
they've
retconned it. They've retconned it into the continuity now from the fan theory. Neat. Okay, so next we get
shelter gives me flashbacks to high school.
Else into
and the Bilko basement door also, cool. Because that's a thing. That we have.
We have that Bilko door in our house.
I grew up
very
with
same
that
one. Ours is reddish brown though. Yeah. Now here.
Yeah, mine was
before you go in, because I know you're going to mention this. Now, Narc, when you saw this, did you remember the Twilight Zone episode?
Oh no, I didn't think of that at all.
Oh, okay. See, that's the first thing I thought of. Because go ahead, because the scene between him and his neighbor, when he's about to go in, and you know what happens, he pushes him away. Yeah.
Oh, I was fully expecting that. I was fully the very next scene after this basically is that his another guest at the party wants to come in and he says no, there's no room, go away, and he slugs him.
And he punches him. He slugs him. Get out of my house.
Whatever's remaining of civilization, completely
instantly
collapses.
Gone.
We're already in a wasteland, so it sets up what we're going to do. And again, the whole idea is that this is a video game. Video games since Doom have been primarily organized around shooting a gun at people, so you need to create context in which it's okay and expected to shoot guns at people, and post-apocalypse obviously fits that bill pretty darn well. You're allowed to go out and do what you want. You're allowed to be evil if you want. You can also be good if that's your bag, but you're not required to, and there's no real moral authority who's going to punish you severely for being one way or the other.
No, but every good deed will go, punished. But no, I instantly thought of the Twilight Zone episode where there's the nuclear attack scare and a bunch of them are in the neighbor's basement and everyone's outside banging and wanted to get in. And it's like saying, I can't let you in. I've only got so many supplies and so many things for us here. That's it. I'm sorry. You should have made your own basement. You could have. I told you, everybody too. So that whole dynamic of neighbors and friends in civilization where your buddies are having parties, your kids are playing, and the bombs go off and boom, none of that matters now. Sorry. You're not getting in my bomb shelter. Get out of here.
Come in and then I'd kill him and eat him.
You can do that in Fallout.
Oh,
right.
In which they've already later episodes of Fallout,
which they've already referenced in the first 4 episodes as well. So that was mostly my thesis. I was just saying that basically they've used this party atmosphere, the interactions between all these characters, the use of the television, the use of that fight that just happened there to better characterize what America and Americans are like, what disagreements they have, the effect that the tension has on their personalities, and why we should care about this. Much better than the way Fallout 4 opens, which is really trying to do the same things and not succeeding at it. The last couple of shots I just got because this was the only part where I think they didn't quite get what they really wanted to. I think they really wanted the 2 prototypical symbols of American freedom for men, the horse and the car, and they've got them both in this shot. But I think there isn't any one frame in that sequence that is perfectly lined up, mostly because the tree is kind of blocking the horse and it's not very well lit on one side. And then when it rides through, it obscures the car and there's blur as the camera follows it. So I wanted one really pretty frame out of that sequence. I didn't get it because there wasn't a clean one.
Yeah, maybe they didn't have the time. Horse wrangling's harder than you think. So yeah, maybe they just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah. And then where Fallout 4 gives you 1 nuke, hey, the TV show is going to give you 4. Or at least
I know.
4.
That was awesome.
Why not?
You got to think that those were tactical MIRVs because they were way smaller than you would expect.
Yeah.
MIRVs,
they weren't
in the Fallout
hydrogen.
universe are handheld. They're shoulder mounted.
Oh yeah, well yeah, they're tactical nukes, so it's way smaller. I mean, if those are hydrogens, you just need 1, and boom, all 4 of those cities would be gone. So they weren't going super heavy-handed with these. But oh yeah, it's just terrifying because I mean, keep in mind, Narc and I grew up with TV shows, the day after in '83. I mean, nuclear catastrophe was always on the brink. In the back of our minds forever, all through the Cold War, through the 80s, all the way right up until the Berlin Wall fallen. So seeing shows and stuff like that with it really brought back memories of that. It really, really did. In fact, Dreamscape had a Holocaust, nuclear Holocaust dream sequence and whatnot that was very indicative. Oh yeah, that was the fear of the president. Yeah, that was the fear of the president at the time. They were diving into his dream,
right.
Because he was trying to do his non-nuclear policy. He wanted to, make peace and whatever else, and that was why they wanted to kill the president because all the hawks wanted to go drop the bomb.
With the United States government, we don't do that sort of thing. Yeah, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. Oh yeah, so, very much.
It was it was really indicative of those kind of Cold War horrors that we grew up with.
One of the scenes, by the way, is pretty much right out of Dr. Strangelove. I think I'm zoomed in too far to see it.
They already used "We'll Meet Again."
Yeah.
They used "We'll Meet Again" in the credits. I think in the 3rd episode.
They did, and they've used a lot of the period 40s, 50s, and 60s music that Fallout 3 and 4 put in the game. This shot, I'm too zoomed in to see it, but basically, when this shot pulls out, you can see that there's one of those big ring lights over this area, and so this is basically like this map is what's in the middle of the war room inside the round table that they're all looking at, and he's here standing on it.
Decca makes a good point. He says, well, LA is like 4 Bostons in size, so more nukes make sense. Very true. And now with Ukraine, the fear is starting to return. Well, we've had that fear for a while, even before Ukraine started. I love the fact that our colors now are gold and blue. Coincidence? I think not. But yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, those were the colors. I mean, those were the colors for Vault-Tec. So that's
for Vault-Tec.
that predates that a little bit. And they're not exactly the same. But anyway,
Ukrainian flag. Excuse me. So yeah, I find that quite interesting as well. But oh yeah, they nailed so many things in this. So first episode, literally my first impressions was one, I'm in. Because you know me, I have not been a Bethesda fan. I've not been a Bethesda player. I haven't played any of the games and whatnot. It was never a genre that was, it seemed very fetch questy to me. And the fact that you guys are joking about it in the TV show just kind of hallmarks that reality. But the moment I started watching the TV show, I said, okay, I'm in. And the second thing that I thought of was, I wish these are the guys that made the Halo TV series instead. Because they cared about this stuff.
TV series, but I heard enough things from people that I respect to say I'm not going to watch it because it's going to irritate me.
Nope, literally not even as a hate watch. I had been saving it for that, and David has seen more of it than mine. So he's had far more experience with it.
As kind of a hate watch punishment thing, and all I can say, Funk,
even
is,
season 2.
What if the new idea you wanted to bring to the Halo franchise? And I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil it in case anybody cares. If you
go ahead,
spoilers for the Halo TV show. This is it.
They've changed so much of it; it has no semblance or resemblance of the original.
What if you had no budget for costumes or effects? And so you can't show any alien environments or any alien characters. So to represent the side of the Covenant, what you have is a war baby who's been kidnapped and brought up by the Covenant and brainwashed into thinking that their side of the conflict is correct. So that when she grows up, Master Chief can have sex. Like... Would you think that is a good idea? That is the thing you should do. Because that is what happened. And that is what they did.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I am never going to watch it. Ever.
And Cortana was watching the whole time.
Yep.
Oh, God, yeah. I forgot that.
She was watching.
Yeah, you're right.
Did she like it?
So I literally want to send...
Well, she didn't look away in disgust.
Yeah. I literally want to send a copy of the show to the makers of Halo and say, this is how you make a good adaptation, motherfuckers, because what they're doing is just absolute trash. It's garbage. It's terrible. So it doesn't respect the source material, because there's one thing that's allowances for different medium.
I think
it's another that just
about the source material.
Not caring at all. Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
The source material is an excuse to do a thing they want to do.
Right,
but they also,
exactly.
I think, have to do that thing. I mean, I haven't seen a comparison, but I would be surprised if those guys had a fraction of the budget that Amazon put into this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They just wanted to slap on a known IP because they were selling a product. They want to make something and make a profit. And they're like, ooh, what can we do with this? And we'll slap a Halo name on it, because it sure as shit has no resemblance to the game or the story or the characters at all. It's literally just copy and pasting whatever ideas that they have and slapping on a sticker that's meaningless. It's terrible. It is devoid of any and all substance at all, and it infuriates me. Whereas this, as far as I can tell, all the reviews, I think what's Rotten Tomatoes at? 94% for reviewers and 500 ratings so far, and an 87% for fans. So even the ones who have deeper complaints than us, it's still not unwatchable by any stretch.
Interesting to me, because actually one of the fears I had was that that this would be good and that I would like it, but that they would step in some
but they'd hate it.
Trap about the lore.
The fans would hate it.
That would activate all the gatekeepers, and they would power up all of the bot swarms, and they would brigade this thing and vote it down, and we'd be trying to say, but guys, it's actually good. Don't look at those things. Those things are fake. They've been ginned up. Those people's complaints aren't real. They're just hating on a thing to hate a thing because that's what they love to do. Like people who drag out want to say, Todd Howard's going to get his thing on it. Like that's a red flag for you when someone is saying Todd Howard more than any fan of these games ever mentions Todd Howard. It's because they hate him with passion for some very particular reasons.
I don't hate Todd Howard, and I apologize.
I wasn't talking about you, but it is interesting that you spoke up at that moment.
Well,
anyway,
so let me
he
tell
said
you
it.
guys, I was on a forum, and I was on 2 different forums talking about this show in the past, since it's come out. One of them, this is going to sound bad.
Funk, everything that comes out of your mouth sounds bad. That's a known quantity. So
I just want to tell you, I'm not there for the reasons you're going to think.
Is this no mutants allowed? Is this?
It's a Gamergate thing. All right.
No, I mean, but the forum is it no mutants allowed?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah, but it's a Gamergate thing, and they were all talk. Gamergate's supposed to be an ethics and journalism, and about 20% of it is, and it really irritates me.
No, it is literally 0% that. It is harassing. It is harassing a woman. It is harassing women in games, is what it is, and it always was. That thing was a cover for, the ethics and journalism was a cover, which is like, how do we get normal people to go along with harassing this person? And the answer was, what if we made it about ethics and games journalism? Never mind. Pray continue.
Anyway, the point is, it's still like 85% maybe just crapping on identity politics, and that forum decided that the Fallout TV show was horrible, literally, because there were minorities in it. And it doesn't make any sense to me. So I went through, and some guy posted a huge screed, and I was like, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. They didn't even watch the show. They just made it up. And then I went onto the Fallout subreddit, and someone mentioned, the TV show, hey, everyone watch the TV show. And then some guy posted this comment about all the lore that the TV show retconned or broke, and none of it was true. The big thing that they're hanging on is the idea that it retcons the entirety of New Vegas.
That was the one that I heard as well, and I was like, wait, what? And I was like, have I seen that yet, or what is it? And then I thought, is it just because they gave the date? Is it literally just because they do the screen flash where they 219 years later, and then somebody did exactly what I did, which is okay, where is that in the timeline? What games are we between?
And they're misrepresenting it. Yeah.
And I think I can get Funk. Let me try to guess what this is.
Okay.
Because people were thinking in the trailers, they were looking at the armed people who came into Vault 33, and they were saying, okay, they must be the NCR. They must be the New California Republic. And then it looks like, no, it turns out it's just Raiders. And so far in 4 episodes, we have not seen any overt signs, I think, of the New California Republic. Yeah. So somebody must be saying, well, then, all that fighting that I did, either for or against the NCR in New Vegas, doesn't matter because it seems like they don't exist anymore. I couldn't guess what it was that they were.
They were making all kinds of radical assumptions based on a show not even released yet, or coming.
I know what you're talking about, Funk.
Yeah, I think I saw that too. Didn't they also complain about the lead being a woman?
There's another date that comes up that Funk is specifically referring to, and you'll know it when you see it because that's the only time they play the Fallout 3 theme.
Yes, and it was very jarring.
Yeah. There were a couple of them that I read, and one of them was that. One of them was the one that Narc and Funk read, but another one I had, somebody was loving everything about the show, and then he said he wanted to give it a 9 out of 10, and then, well, there's a lead woman in it, so I have to take 6 points off. And I was
points
what
off
the hell?
Sakes.
Points off for what?
Screw that.
Oh my God.
First of all,
I was the show, those people hold up because they always say, we don't care if there's a woman lead or if there's a minority lead or there's interracial stuff, as long as it's well written and the characters are developed. But you're giving us checklist things. Well, here's the show.
But Lucy is a very well-written character. I didn't even touch on any of that because I was only talking about that open sequence. But she's a very well-written, well-performed character.
Amazing show.
Well-written and well-performed. Yeah. So she's great in the 4 episodes I saw. So I don't know what this guy is freaking talking about.
Can we please acknowledge that all the mainstay Fallout games you can play as a woman? Yeah. All of them.
Yes. And it's so funny to me, or disgusting in this case, that people for those type of reviews are not reviewing the material, they're not reviewing the subject, they're not even reviewing who's behind it or how it's made. They're projecting their own issues to it and using their own misperceptions as justification. And that I find is sad. And those kind of things are the ones I wish that they could get off of there, that could remove those that are somehow filtered by AI to, oh, you're a sexist idiot. Well, sorry, that review goes bye-bye. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
It literally is. So it's like, wow, out of all the things you could potentially review this for, you're literally going to get your review from a 9 down to a 1 because of this single issue you personally have.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's sad. It's almost like you wish that there was a license for these reviews that you had to have.
And like modern Fallout is also not particularly progressive. Like one of the big objections of this particular group of fans that hate the newer game is things like you're not allowed to shoot and kill children in the 3D Fallout. Right, you can't do it, and the way they do it, like remember, like in Destiny, they don't want you to be able to shoot certain NPCs, so you can't have your weapon out anywhere in the tower, right? And that just makes sense, right? You know, you're not allowed to. It's not because those characters are immortal. Bethesda has to do it a different way. There are no designated safe areas in Fallout, right? So there's no place where, well, in this space you're not allowed to use your gun. So instead, what it is basically it's just like, you can't hit them. They don't react. You can fire a gun at a child character, but nothing happens to them. And if there are NPCs that are essential for main quests, then usually what happens is that you can fire a weapon at them and it will knock them down and they'll react as if they're hit, but they won't die. They can't be killed. And people object to that because it's not realistic. You should let me kill children. They want to be able to kill children. But I will say the modern games are not particularly progressive. One, because although you can't kill children, you can sell them into slavery. And you do so by putting explosive collars around their necks. So it's not really being, yeah, Jail, go ahead.
I was going to say, would you count the destruction of the Pridwin in Fallout 4 as killing children? Because there are children running around on that ship.
I think what they're trying to regulate in that is the depiction of it, not whether it happens or not. Because like you can go and you can destroy the Institute with a nuclear weapon, and presumably there are children down there too. Whether or not you see any, there must be some. You can destroy the Pridwin. There are lots of things you could do that within the lore, within the universe would presumably result in the death of children. But I just mean that a child character that is in front of you running around saying a thing that makes player characters get annoyed at, and you want it to be, ha ha, I'm going to shoot this kid with a gun. They don't react, and a lot of people, don't like this.
Did you? Oh, sorry.
Well, do the kids say anything? Do the dialogue come out? Do they say anything like, "Hey, don't do that," or "Hey, I'm"?
Usually they run away. I mean,
okay, so there's not even a response from the characters for your actions if it regards to even doing that. They just don't acknowledge it. Nothing happens. People will
cower and they'll run away. But what I'm saying is the child will not be harmed. They won't have their hit points reduced. They will not die. Whereas adult characters, if they're not quest essential, usually you can kill almost anybody.
Gotcha.
Okay, in the original 2 Fallout games, they were going to have it where you could kill the children, and not only was that going to be acknowledged, you got a special perk for it.
Yes.
Are you aware of that one, Narc?
No, but I am aware of the fact that it's one of those things where, just like in Skyrim, if you get caught killing people or robbing people, it makes almost every character in the game hostile to you.
They literally, you want me to describe what the image, because
this was just an aside. I wanted to get to the next point, which is that like Fallout 3 in particular literally tries to set itself out as being non-woke in a very specific area, and it wants to make the point that slavery in America is not and was not ever about racism, because they want to say that in a post-apocalyptic environment, anyone can be a slaver and anyone can be a slave, which is why you have black slavers there selling white slaves. So this is not a particularly good piece of media to be an example of the kind of progressivism that Gamergaters are upset about. It's really not. Just the bottom line is basically is that they wouldn't have been able to sell it in Australia and Germany, and so children don't bleed. I mean, that is it. It is purely economics.
Oh wait! Don't put a spoiler. Don't put a spoiler in the thingy. No.
So Anyway, all right. Let's stop giving the weird.
It's not a spoiler for the
gamer gators,
show,
any more
Black Star.
time there.
No, I mean for
Yeah,
me.
we don't need to be giving any more oxygen
But-
to gamer gators for any
but yeah,
reason.
No,
But-
F those guys.
Lore things that are even slightly in contention with the games are things that through very basic apologetics you can get away with, like where is the NCR, even though we know 15 years earlier it was a big deal. How
Somewhere
did the
else.
Brotherhood of Steel... Right.
California's a big place. They're somewhere else.
Exactly.
I mean, dude,
Brotherhood of
the
Steel is
problem?
here, but where were they in New Vegas? It's New Vegas. You know, where's the Boneyard, and so on. You know, it's just like little things that are just like, yeah, we just didn't see that in the TV show. So I was really pleased at how it's just
Wait,
new
are they-
stuff. Like,
Are they
Joe
talking
said.
about Davis
It's just new
Monthan?
stuff.
Are they talking about Davis Monthan Air Force Base? As far as the
Nope.
Boneyard goes?
No, wait, hold on. What's it called? The Boneyard? What
Yeah,
was
the
LA
Boneyard
called
is-
in the first game? Was
Yeah,
that what
hold
it's
on.
called?
Well, Davis Monthan Air Force
Yes.
Base is a U.S. facility for storing aircraft parts from older retired
No,
aircraft. It's referred to as the Boneyard.
The Boneyard is just a collective name for all the ruins of Los Angeles. Just in general.
Ah, okay. I wasn't sure how much it was inclusive.
But I like the stim packs. I like everything. Everything in this show was just more Fallout, and nothing made me go, It was always just like, okay, all right, that's good. More Fallout stuff.
To me,
What
that's a
about
good
the-
thing,
the
because
Brotherhood
you'd be
of
the
Steel
most
character.
critical out of all of us, I think. You'd be the
Yeah.
first one to say, oh, unwatchable,
Now-
I'm getting this out of here.
What about the thing about ghouls? Because I was watching them.
Oh,
do
yeah, the
this.
ghoul mechanic. Is
Yeah,
that
the
real?
ghoul mechanic, because that, as far as I can tell, also appears to be
Is that new?
and that what I thought I knew about
kinda
ghouls
liking it.
up to now was the,
Which
was-
mechanic are you talking about?
That if they take the drug, they can be normal.
yes.
If not, they go feral.
the idea that all ghouls eventually go feral is the theory, and the idea, of course, is that since there are a number of long-lived pre-war ghouls around, the idea is that they will all eventually go feral, but people don't know what causes it or how long it takes.
How to reverse it,
So
yeah.
some people think you should kill any ghoul, non-feral or not, because they'll all go feral eventually, and so you're not really doing anything bad by killing a non-feral ghoul.
Right. You're doing them a favor.
This one, however, suggests that there are drugs you can take that will delay this effect, and that there are people who know this and are taking economic advantage of this fact.
Right.
And this, I think,
It's a treatment.
is new as far as I can tell.
Yeah. So as long as they get their meds, they're okay.
But it's interesting and consistent, so I like it. The
Yeah,
idea that, like,
I
well,
like
this
it
can't
too.
be true because I've played so many of the games and nobody ever mentioned it there. I'm like, this is a universe that is a post-apocalypse. It's got a lot of misinformation, disinformation, unreliable narrators, a lot of stuff that's out of date. Like the idea that you don't already know everything about it because you've played this game or that game. I think it's really kind of silly and too limiting if you want somebody to come in and dramatize a new story.
Oh, absolutely. Well, not to mention the fact that, I mean, if you're going to put the thing on such narrow rails, it just means that your traveling is only going to be so far in either direction. Do you know what I mean? So if literally your expanded universe is only going to be that wide, it's going to get dry very, very soon. And the fact that they've added just in this alone enough variation and creativity so that longtime gamer fans still find something new, I mean, to me, that's also very, very good and a good thing. So
It's pretty cool.
I like to think so. But as far as the ghoul mechanic, see, I didn't know about it in the game, so I wasn't sure whether that was even included or that was something new. So I'm glad that you're not
kind
sure
of a
either.
Mystery in the games in terms of how it really happens, which is part of the. You know, there's so many mysteries in the games because we're in a post-apocalypse that you can put whatever the heck you want in there and have it fit within canon. Like Narc was saying, this thing with the drugs that could keep people from turning feral. It's no one said anything about that before, but it works.
Well, if you're gonna have a lead ghoul character, it's like you can't have him going, otherwise it'd be turning into Walking Dead every week.
Yeah,
and
they could also just not have given him the drugs.
That's just it. In fact, I'm wondering at some point later on in the series, is he gonna go completely off the rails, or because in this dystopian future, you got to ask yourself, well, if there's a drug that keeps them in check, well, who's making this drug? How is it getting out there? How is it not run out?
Cheech and Chong, apparently.
This has been
Right,
200 and
exactly.
something odd years. There's a plant somewhere still making this, and how are they making it? So,
My
there's all
wife
kinds
was-
of questions.
My wife was watching that scene and seen her, so like, why was she able to do that? I'm like, they're stoned. They're just stoned. That's it. They're high on their own supply there.
Yes. They're representative of the past style of, wake and bake.
And it also does seem clear that at least some of the drugs he's taking are purely recreational. And it seems like the Raiders are using Jet, and I don't know what else. I'd have to look up the colors. I think they've shown
Yeah,
the Jet inhaler is red, right?
Jet was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're
I
having
think
fun
Jet
with
would be
it.
black, but
Yeah.
So which kitty do you have now? Is that Scrambles?
And there's
Which one's
one-
that one?
Yeah, and there's-
well, that's his Scrambles because Marlo
Is no longer
passed
with
away
us.
a month ago. Yeah.
And there was one
Yeah.
shot in the 4 episodes you've seen where you see the origin of Jet.
Oh, really?
Wait,
Okay, now
you
I
do?
must have missed that. Go ahead. Where was that?
Oh,
It was in the episode where Lucy is walking to what was that town called? What, Fiddle?
yeah,
Billy.
Philly
Billy,
Yeah.
thank you.
with an F.
Yeah, and she comes across a 2-headed Brahmin.
What? Is that how you get Jet?
Oh,
You've
isn't
never
Jet
played Fallout 2?
isn't Jet
I don't
cow
remember
manure?
this.
Isn't one of the ingredients in Jet cow manure?
Yes.
At least in the
Jet
old games.
is cow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm. Yes, Jet is. This is what, and the thing is, the creator of Jet, you actually encounter in Fallout 2, which is why so many people objected to that one vault in Fallout 4 having Jet drugs
Right.
from pre-war era, because that drug wasn't invented pre-war.
Right.
Oh, so they're worried
So-
about a retcon. Well, the question is,
Fallout 4,
is it-
retconned a lot of shit?
Okay,
see,
but
the
wait a
question
minute,
I
but-
got to ask yourself is, was Jet simply made in a different way, and now we're using cow manure because that's the
No,
only thing
well,
that we can use to
you
make
need-
it?
You need to talk to this character who created it.
Okay.
He's like this shoestring for the mafia. It's
Okay.
incredible.
But if there were a bunch of pre-war containers with a medical symbol on them, I might keep my drugs in it, even if those drugs were invented after the container was made. And again, that's just a gaming convention. You have to communicate to players where to find certain kinds of loot. You're expecting there to be drugs in a container that would have drugs in them. And those containers, because they're mass manufactured and metal, are going to be coded as if they were made before the bombs dropped. Just because those two things both are true and make sense doesn't mean you found a big gotcha by saying, why is there a post-war drug in a pre-war box? Like,
Right.
Well,
that's,
yeah, but there was a terminal in Vault 95 or something like that that said, hey, it was like a pre-war terminal entry, and they're like, yeah, we shipped a bunch of Jet and Psycho or whatever.
are you sure it's a pre-war?
Yeah. No, hold on.
Well, see again, details.
Because there
It's a
are
wiki of
lo-
every terminal entry.
Yeah, a lot of terminal entries are dated, and a lot of post-war people used terminals for diary recording and other purposes post-war. I wouldn't put it beyond Bethesda or anybody else to mess up and put in a wrong date or to write a story that had a wrong lore fact in there. But man, like there's so many details in this story that I really don't think it's that a big deal if somebody did it. It doesn't ruin like the date origin of Jet is not a thematically essential fact to the Fallout universe. I
But
would
they
say.
do. Well, when it comes to me who played Fallout 2 before the Bethesda Fallouts were even a thing, it's just one of those moments where the game now establishes this one element, and the story of this element is being taken seriously, and you have to follow it through. So when something takes it seriously, and then the other thing just decides to throw it out the window, it kind of feels like a broken trust.
You feel like it's too jarring? Is that what you mean? That
Because
they've swayed too far in either direction, trying to be serious and funny.
I get what you're saying, but they have a built-in stupid excuse. And the built-in stupid excuse is
Video game?
We're separated by 100 years. There's basically a dark age, and there's thousands of miles separating these people. So these things can be developed and started independently. Like the Enclave coming back in Fallout 3, even though you annihilated it, and all this kind of crap.
Like the automobile was invented in 2 separate countries at the same time, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and, see, the other thing is, and what I was leading to before about,
or not, who knows?
Yeah. Well, the one thing I was thinking before about the jet is that, well, maybe it was manufactured in a different way, and now they don't have the proper options for things, and now they're using cow manure to make it. I mean, you can make methamphetamine in all kinds of different ways and using different things, but you still end up with the same result. And, when people talking about fentanyl nowadays, it's like everybody's freaking out about fentanyl. It's like, oh my God, it's so much powerful and stuff. Fentanyl was invented in 1959, and it was approved in 1968. So, I mean, it's been around a long time, but
that guy in
it
the
was
old
not in
game,
the public consciousness.
That guy in the old game could be overstating his claim somewhat.
Right.
He may have rediscovered a way to use existing resources and materials to create a drug that is either the same as or broadly similar to one that did and already exist and is no longer being manufactured. Again, unreliable narrators everywhere. And much smaller games also have like Marathon also has a bunch of wrong dates on it, so much that they had to produce a document to explain to people that, things aren't always what they seem, and you never really know anything for sure, because they weren't really thinking about all of that stuff. And that's really a much smaller game than this, which has got multiple entries of 3-dimensional worlds built by multiple different companies over multiple decades now. Lots of writers going in and out, lots of stuff being made. I mean, I find it hard to impute to that, they threw that out. They threw out that poor guy who invented Jet so they could make up a new story where someone else talks about buying and selling Jet before that. And I need to know who's right and who's wrong and who cared and who didn't. And I'm like, I don't know. It could just be a world in which no one's really sure about what's true and lots of people lie.
Yeah, maybe. But again, people get hung up on details of things sequentially. They get hung up things, on timelines. They get hung up on, well, it wasn't in this thing, therefore it can't be in that. It's nothing new. People have said that in games, in TVs, in movies. I mean, look at Star Trek. Look at all the ups and downs, back and forths, and retcons or changes or whatever else for something that's been happening for 60 friggin' years. So, there's a point where you just got to say, okay, guys, relax. It's just a TV show. So as far as this thing goes, I mean, I'm wondering if me knowing less about the games and the history and the details is actually a benefit, because for me, I can just take it as a TV show with production, with shots, with, looking at bokeh, the way funk is, and not caring about, the font on that poster is, they're using Comic Sans and they're supposed to be using Wingdings. Oh, I have to uninstall now.
I will. So if I can't, and again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but
do it.
I've been playing the Fallout games since the 90s, back when they had the demos on the Inside Mac Game CDs. And there is something that happens in the latter half, and it's not too late in that latter half, where they do something that would not have impacted me as much if I was not a fan or a player of these games.
Ah, okay. All right. But historical significance has a greater context.
Everybody needs an entry point, though, so it may just be that Blackstar for you, your real entry into this.
I am not saying that people are being robbed of an experience here. Absolutely not. It works for new viewers.
But it's just more weighty with than without.
It is a lot more. Well, it really did make me a little teary-eyed. I thought, because I was thinking back to all those times in Fallout 1, in Fallout 2, in Fallout New Vegas, where I did a specific thing, and now suddenly this happened in the series, and I was like, I just could. That just kind of wrecked me.
Wow. So is it like Darth Vader, Luke's father level of,
bigger,
weighty, or?
Well, it's not a
bigger.
twist like that, but it's
Not a
Ooh.
twist.
Okay,
it's
not
a bigger
twisty.
deal.
Okay.
It's
Bigger
more along
deal.
the lines of
Whoa.
I mean,
there
we've
was
got
a
a
series set on Alderaan, and then the Death Star showed up.
Yeah, we've got a broad range here because like Jails played the original 2 games, which I didn't. I started with
Right.
3. Black Stars just now started with the TV show. Funk, what was your first Fallout game?
That I really paid attention to.
Yeah.
3.
3. Okay. All right, so that makes sense. We're about to take our break, I think. But when we come back, we will talk some more about the TV show, and maybe I'll even play a little
that's not
Fallout.
true. Tactics.
Tactic. Oh God. Okay. Well, you have to be different then. There we go. Then we got the gamut here.
And I played none of them, so.
Yeah, we need you to play. We need
we're
you to play
fresh.
Brotherhood of Steel on a PS2 emulator then to round it
no.
out.
Oh, please!
Is that
no,
what I? Oh,
the soundtrack is horrendous.
No, it's awesome, and the show actually referenced it. The show actually has
Did
a song
they?
that is obviously
Really?
a direct reference to the theme song in Fallout Brotherhood
Nice.
of Steel.
Cool.
I missed that one.
Oh,
What
yeah.
was the
Maybe we can
theme
play some
song?
samples.
Can you play it? Yeah.
No, it's licensed. It can't. We'll get tagged for it.
Oh, we'll play it off cam then, so it'll be just for us. All right, well, everyone, if you're just tuning in, you're watching the Rampancy.net playthrough of Fallout 76 and the TV show Fallout's reviews and playback. We're going to be taking a short break, and we'll be right back after this.
Okay, we're back. Talking more Fallout TV show.
Can't get enough. Okay, so
we were talking
what did
about,
you have next?
We were talking about the robot. We were talking about the Mr. Handy that Lucy runs into, because we talked about, hey, there seems to be this new idea that ghouls may go feral, but there's a drug they can take to put it off. And so the place where Lucy gets taken, she gets ransomed to these people producing this drug at a location that wants to harvest her organs. And so there's this scene where the Mr. Handy attempts to perform surgery on her to remove her organs. And we were just pointing out that that's another one of these. It's a reference, but it's not a reference if you don't know from the games. So there's a situation that can happen in Fallout 3 that basically your dad leaves the vault and you end up leaving to go look for him. And this causes a lot of chaos in the vault. And eventually you can get a radio message from the vault for you to come back. And lots of bad things have happened in the vault since you left. One of the things I think happened is that the doctor gets killed. I don't remember if you see that before you leave the vault or whether that's a thing that happens off screen. So the doctor in your original vault has been replaced by a Mr. Handy. And this Mr. Handy, the last time you interacted with it, was attempting to cut your birthday cake with that same buzzsaw attachment that we see that it's used in the Fallout 4 intro video to cut the hedge. And that is going to be used to open up the chest of that character in the TV show. And you can imagine about how well that goes. The cake goes everywhere. It is not successful. That thing gets made the doctor for that vault, and it gets to relate to you the story of how a woman resident of the vault stubbed her toe and came to the robot for help, and how it decided that it had no choice but to amputate her leg for the stubbed toe, and then she dies as a result of this operation. So I got a very clear reference to that situation from the robot very matter-of-factly announcing that it was there to harvest your organs.
And of course, Mr. Handy in this context is voiced by the legendary Matt Berry, who I thought was absolutely chef's kiss in casting. It was absolutely spectacular. I hope we hear a lot more of him, or more Mr. Handys are voiced by him, because I thought that was spectacular.
I forget what you know him from. I know him from What We Do in the Shadows. That's where I know him.
Yeah, you remember from that. I know him from the It Crowd. I was a big fan of that show for many, many years, and he's popped up in a lot of British stuff left and right that I've seen, either one-offs or regular series where he's had guest appearances and stuff. So I've seen and heard him in tons of stuff. He has a very, very signature voice and a very signature character. And I've seen What We Do in Shadows, but I have not actually seen the show. But he's a brilliant comedian.
The show's great.
So yeah, he's just top tier in my opinion. So
I would even go so far as to say that the show is better than the movie it was based on.
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. So yeah, that was definitely a treat to hear him. In fact, I think I heard, or I thought I heard a bit in the trailer where the Handy comes up. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but I saw the Handy. I don't remember if I heard the voice, but when I first heard it, I was like, oh my God, it's like, totally going to be hysterical.
But Bethesda has liked to give a lot of the Mr. Handys in various jobs British accents of some sort. For instance, in Fallout 4, your domestic robot. And it was weird. I was just thinking about this the other day when thinking about what we were going to talk about during this episode, that you have a domestic robot. You have a Mr. Handy that is apparently relatively recent because the box is still in the bathroom in your house in Sanctuary. And I also noticed that robot survives the entire, apocalypse and hundreds of years after, so that you can go down and talk to him. Is the first character you get to interact with in Fallout 4 after you get out of the vault. But there are, I think, no other Mr. Handy robots in that neighborhood, alive or destroyed, and no other Mr. Handy boxes. So I was wondering, did that mean, are you the most well-off resident of Sanctuary pre-war, such that you're the only one who had a Mr. Handy robot?
Well, when you talk in town in the show, they say, hey, the vaults are simply holes in the ground where rich people went to hide and left all the poor people out to fend for themselves. So F the vaulters.
Deca says laundry room, not bathroom. That's correct.
Oh yes, okay, yeah, good point. Deca's always on key.
Except when the vault experiment was specifically to take 4 people and put them in charge to see what would happen, because that's another one of those. One of the things.
See, that's the thing. Well,
Vault Tech is experimenting on people. That's what's going on in the vaults. It is not actually survival for the vast majority of vaults.
Yeah, it's not all fun and games. And in fact, I think even in the vault history, Vault 81, which was supposedly outside of Boston, was one that apparently there was a revolt where the head of the vault killed all the scientists, locked them away, and said bye-bye, and left them to die. And then that was one of the only ones where everything was fine for the rest of time.
Vault 81 was the one that I first thought of, because what we're seeing in the show, right, is this idea where apparently there are 3 vaults that are connected underground, 31, 32, and 33.
32 and 33, yeah, and they do in the show.
That is not necessarily a unique situation, because there are some other vaults that have had split populations, and one of those was 81. 81 basically has an area of the vault where normal people are, and they are the subjects of an experiment for bioweapons. On the other side of that vault, basically behind the walls, is a second part of that vault that most people don't know about, where there are scientists who are working on, hazardous bioweapons that they're supposed to test on the population of the vault. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, see, this kind of make that. They're trying. Their purpose was to create a vaccine for all diseases, and by infecting the population.
Oh, so when they go up into space, they'll be able to handle anything. Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's another one of this long-termist nonsense where it's like, to make sure that everybody survives in the future, we have to do horrible things to the people who are living right
in
here
the present,
today.
right?
Yeah. So again, what happens is that the people that are supposed to run that experiment decide not to do it. They stop the experiment from happening. They kill off all the people who are supposed to do it. And then what happens is that as the protagonist arrives in this space, there's one resident of that vault who has discovered this other space, gone in it. He uses it to hide his drug stack. And he gets infected by a disease that was given to some mole rats who were experimental animals. And then you have to go into that area to go and get the cure. And the cure is being produced by a Mr. Handy robot who is a doctor that has a French female voice, which is Curie.
Curie!
Right.
Curie.
Yeah, because in this one, you see Vault 32, which has been decimated, and everybody turned into ghouls and killed each other and whatnot. So I have a feeling we find the reason for that out later on. But I was curious about, because they mentioned before, how did the Raiders get in? Somebody must have let them from the outside. And I'm wondering, are they going to discover a scientist group on the other side of the wall that's been, waiting to do experiments on them, and they're the ones that actually opened it? Or do we find out later that it's somebody else? I honestly don't know. I still got 4 more episodes to watch. So I was curious if they reconcile that at all in this series.
I think they will.
Okay.
Just listening to these ideas, I've been thinking it'd be fun to have like a Fallout Paranoia crossover. I don't know if you're familiar with the...
It would. I've never played Paranoia, but I've watched some sessions, and I'm basically aware of how that game works. And yes, that would be a Paranoia rule set in a Fallout setting. I think would be really interesting. As I said, there's lots of hostile artificial intelligences and robots, a lot of drug use, a lot of unreliable narrators. There's a lot of overlap there. Shall I jump in and play a little 76 just for the heck of it?
Sure. I don't see why not.
All
if
right.
you wanted to fill out the rest of the time. Otherwise, we could call it early, but that's up to you. Let's see. Deca's saying you mean Vault 88. You mean? He goes, no, I think it's 81. In fact,
it's 81. It's 81.
Okay, so, all right. I feel better now.
Yeah, you're right.
Again,
No,
I just watched that video a little while ago because they do mention 88. He says, no, 81 is the disease vault. Got confused for a second. Yeah. Okay, I feel better. Ha ha.
All right, so
I was right.
I made some changes to the world settings here. Just because I wanted to, I changed the weather to misty, just because I kind of want to rotate through the weathers and see what they're like. I increased the jump height a little more to very high.
Okay.
I increased the carry weight to 100, and I think those are basically all the things that I changed.
Question says that there is an official Fallout tabletop. So
yes, there is a tabletop game. There is even, I think Bethesda sells a a pinball game, and there's a Fallout themed pinball game. It's a digital thing, not a physical board.
Well, I was going to ask you, is there a digital tabletop game that you can play with friends online?
I don't know. I have seen people play the tabletop board game. I have seen people stream it.
I mean, is there a virtual skee ball? Is basically my question.
I don't know. We'd have to check. We did buy that board game simulator that has some fan-made packs of stuff, and I don't know. They might.
We have never played. In fact, we still have to play Axis and Allies because we have never played.
I know.
Oh, right.
We downloaded that 10 years ago, and we have yet to actually play a single game with it yet.
There's a Java app for Paranoia that I used to play a long time ago.
The galaxy far, far away.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, I was leading into your Star Wars theme joke from before. Actually, I don't think the fans heard that.
No, that was before the stream.
Yeah, so you'll have to put it in.
Let's see.
I've altered your settings. Pray I don't alter them any further.
Okay, right, all right. We were heading up to the lumber company to kill the leader of that raider group. Now, obviously, because this is, like I said, this is not a persistent world, so basically, like, all those scorched enemies in the fairground behind us have respawned. I'm not going to bother with any of that.
Previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
I'm not sure.
I guess I didn't save. How do you save in this game?
There is no saving in this game. Like, saving happens pretty much in the background all the time. Your character's progress is saved, and your inventory is saved, and your position in the world is kind of like approximated. So, like, when you rejoin a world, you'll be in more or less the same place as when you left, or the closest convenient spawn point. Oh, great. Okay, we got a Scorch Beast. Awesome.
For the most convenient parallel dimension.
Oh, and by the way, I kind of didn't notice this. I did make a note that, like, I had gotten a weapon. But what I have is
that the one Walter has? Excuse me, Walton?
This, as it turns out, is not just a bonus damage against insects. It is that, but it is also explosive. This has
neat.
Plus 50% damage to insects and mirelurks, and also 20% explosive damage on top of that. And this is just a random drop for me. I just happened to put a special paint job on it, and I made a couple of other mods for it. I changed the site.
Shouldn't you make it green?
Nice paint job.
Well, my colors are red. Shouldn't you make yours green?
The other thing I noticed, Jail, is that since we have unlimited bench crafting on, we can actually make as many examples as we want of any gun we like and then scrap it so that we can learn how to make the mods, and we doesn't cost materials, which I'm fine with, because the gate in this, I think, it really is the plans. Like, we don't have the plans to build most guns, so I don't mind using free materials, because the game's going to stop us from being able to build anything we want because we don't have the plans. Oh, okay, it just told me I declined an invite. Let me block. Why can't I?
I know that.
Can't I invite you? Bailey, are you in the game yet or not?
I am in the game, yes.
Oh, okay, fine. Because it just told me you declined an invite. I'm like, no, I didn't.
I sent you an invite too. Let's try again. Narc. Invite to team. Team invite. Sent to Narc.
Oh, now have you joined the world yet, though? Are you in the world?
Yes.
You are. Okay.
Yes. I joined your server.
Oh, I like the camouflage you've got going on there.
It's a cultist thing.
Yeah, I think because the themed event that's going on is Mothman related, so that's why I think the hardest enemies we were bumping into were the cultists.
Gotta love cultists.
Oh, okay, there we go. Accept team invite.
Thank you.
Okay, so
now,
where are you?
Back to 5.
Where are you?
That's what I'm going to try to fix. Because
He's in
remember,
the
I
woods.
died last time. And,
Oh, right. That's right. And fast travel is off.
Nope. So you're hoofing it, and he looks like a deer.
I see where you are. Yeah, I'm just south of 76. I'll come up to you.
Now,
Okay,
I got a
it's
question.
not that far. I mean,
Do you think now, because of the success of the TV show, because I have a feeling it's going to be very popular, do you think they're going to have to start hiring these actors to do video game voices for anything in the future?
That's going to be pretty tricky. Because, I mean, for one
'Cause
thing,
they're
they did
expensive.
yeah.
They are expensive, but then again, they didn't bring back the voice actor who did the Mr. Handy from even the Bethesda
Right,
games.
from the Bethesda
before.
games. They didn't.
those
They hired
those are kind
a
of
legendary
throwaway.
comedian.
I mean, I would say the most well-loved, persistent character that's a robot that people care about is Eddie.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that character just beeps. It's literally like R2D2. It is an iBot that talks in beeps that you get subtitles for.
So the question is, are we going to get the subtitles in the show, and are they going to use the same beeps?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like Codsworth, but I know, I don't think people really like Codsworth that much. Some people like Kiri. Some people like.
Curie was always my companion, but Codsworth never was.
Oh, Deca says it also depends on character survival, too. Yeah, no, that's very true. Oh, it says there's an echo in the stream. Are we echoing? Who's echoing?
What's that?
Am I echoing?
I don't know. I did hear something before, but I don't hear it now. But
Not me,
I guess
'cause I've been
Deca
on mute
hears
for a
it.
sec, but
Oh, I'm being shot by a robot. Where did the lib? Oh, I'm being shot by a robot. Where did the lib?
Whoa, what was that beep?
Somebody beat.
He was, yeah, because Narc was a robot, so I didn't want the audience to know.
Oh. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, have you ever seen that clip about inappropriate muting? Excuse me, what is no inappropriate censoring?
Yes.
Makes things sound worse than it is. It's awesome. Oh, you have an entourage. Hello.
I know. I gotta run. Gotta go
somebody
fast.
following you?
Dogs.
Ow.
He's being attacked by 3 dogs.
Three wild mongrels, and now a 4th one's joined in, and now I'm running into
Use your
help me.
jetpack.
Oh no, these guys! I don't have a jetpack. I have
Oh
a
well,
backpack.
see, there you go. There's your problem. you don't have a jetpack.
I think you're in trouble. Where are you?
He's gonna die.
I think you're in trouble. Where are you?
Yeah.
I'm
I
on
don't
the
even-
road heading north.
I don't see you on the map.
He's got like 60% health.
You're
He's
on.
going past this.
You're
giant,
on Route 90, right? You're on the same road that we
Yep.
used to get down here. You're on the
same
road that we used
Yep, west. I'm on 88.
Yeah, he's on 88.
Oh, you're on 88. Oh, you're on 88.
Yeah, he's in
I should
trouble.
appear on the map.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good, they're not chasing me
You
anymore.
don't appear to. You don't appear to. Oh wait, there you are.
I'm
There
on
you
the
are.
map.
There you are. I see you.
oh wait,
there you are.
there you are. There you are.
All right,
I see you. You're gonna die. I see you.
I'll move vaguely in your direction, just in case. Because I mean, if the game operates the way it did last time, you'll run into something else before you get to me.
Oh, question. So there
Because
was
yeah, the problem with the last game is I died and I lost all my loot and I don't know where I died, so I don't know if
Yeah,
I can ever
and-
get that loot again.
And the thing is, you guys got into a fight as I was doing the outro, so I did not have my hand on the controller. So like before I even got in to try to help you out, you guys were both dead.
Deca says that Narc's the one who's echoing. Yeah, Narc, did you shunt
That
an
shouldn't be
audio source?
possible unless I'm coming back through someone else's mic. but I
Well,
don't
you were sending something
don't
to
see
jail.
that.
I'm wondering if you hit a button because you don't sound echoing to me, which means that it's on the stream, not on Mumble. So.
That is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Is your headset close to the mic?
No, it's not particularly loud either. I barely have the game volume up.
Okay. Jail, do you have like nothing in your inventory? Because when you fired the thing up, graphically, I did not see anything in that wheel.
I do have it on so the dying will drop some stuff other than just. Oh crap!
Good cave. Goodness.
I just came across some ammo, so I should be set in case other further dangers decide to inconvenience me.
I may have wandered into some super mutants. I don't want to walk that way.
I like the trees there.
Ah.
Also, it was nice to see a saw blade.
All right, I think you're getting close, Joe.
Okay, it's not an echo, it's a delay. It's your dialogue when you're saying your mic, it sounds perfectly fine. And then about 3 seconds later, that line gets repeated. So it's a repeat delay.
Whoa.
Something it's almost like you've got a stream open again or something. Are you monitoring it from someplace? Did you fire up YouTube or
Narcs,
Twitch?
Narc's
YouTube-
microphone.
have
Your
YouTube-
microphone in game, Narc, is being activated.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, that's what it is then. Yeah, okay. So
Oh.
I've got to find
That's awesome.
where I can turn that off in the game then.
Yeah, I thought you turned that off before. Oh,
I
that's
didn't
so
think I
funny.
had it. I didn't think I ever had it on.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I will turn on push to talk, which should turn that off because I'm not going to push it.
Well, assuming you didn't.
And that
put it
explains
to,
why
like,
I can't
the
hear
forward
it.
button. Yes. Well, see, that's just it, you know. So that's funny because it was
Yep,
lower.
okay.
It was
Yep.
it was a
Right.
lower level.
I see. I'm right behind you. Yo.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, you are camouflaged.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
I can blend in
so
as a tree.
let's head
Yeah.
up to the.
Yeah,
the lumber
jail's
mill.
got no ambient music either. So when you go to jail's cam, it's like
Kind of reminds me of my wilderness survival training, and I made the mistake of trying to use ferns to camouflage myself. And
oh, were you allergic?
no, it's just that they kind of stick out everywhere, and that makes you actually more noticeable.
Oh, okay. Well, it's funny because I actually knew someone who was allergic to ferns.
Oh, that's not.
Oh yeah. Oh, yes and no.
Gotta admit, I'm underwhelmed by the misty weather. I can barely see it. I think I should have opted for foggy.
Mm. Yeah, it's not very.
It's like you can barely see it.
It's too subtle at these graphic
Yeah,
settings.
it's too subtle.
I wouldn't have noticed it if you didn't say it was there.
Yeah. I was just wondering, like, oh, hey, where's that setting I wanted? And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I can kind of see something, but it's not much. It's very, very minimal.
Yeah, Deca said it was the same audio problem. He said, yeah, I had it on when I joined last week that caused problems on his
Right,
setup.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's fine. There's a Twitch streamer I watch who does a lot of Fallout content, but he doesn't like Fallout 76. He only plays it once in a while. He loves to make fun of people for playing it. He did a gimmick stream where he does like a Wheel of Fortune roll, and whichever game comes up he plays until he dies, and then he switches. And every time 76 comes up, he would get on and like make fun of people. He wanted to know like who had a mic, and he was trying to troll people who were playing 76.
sounds like a jerk. Why does he care
Kind of,
when
yeah.
people like 76?
Yeah, that's kind of a.
It sounds very
People like
elitist
what they
to me.
like.
I mean, not like, you know.
There you go. All right.
Maybe he's disappointed that 76 didn't become the thing that was promised.
Mm.
Well, didn't it just take forever? I mean, you know, No Man's Sky took
I
a
don't
while.
know.
but
I don't
they
know.
finally
Like
got it right.
No Man's Sky is a thing that I would say was not what it promised to be at launch. But I would say
launch,
that's not
launch.
really true of 76. The thing that was not true about 76 is that they promised high quality merch and kind of delivered garbage. And then it was very buggy and unstable, and they made a lot of creative choices that people didn't like the thing about like having no human PCs, which people were not a fan of. But it wasn't like they ever promoted a thing they didn't have, except if you want to go down on the, well, what they promised was you're rebuilding America, and instead it's just a bunch of people making camps out of stuff they buy with microtransactions.
Doing fetch quests.
Instead of doing that. like one of the big drawbacks here is that like you can do these missions where you can find a power plant and you can clear it of enemies and you can repair it and turn it on, and it actually can be connected to provide you with power to run devices and defenses at camps. And then the problem is that when you log out and go to another server, it undoes all of that. There's no persistent world like you get in the first in a single player area where the player does a thing that changes the world and it stays changed in the future. Instead, you just get, whatever's gone on in the multi-server, before you log in.
Well, I'm also just not seeing the 16 times more detail from Fallout 4.
Oh,
I just don't see it.
I would say it absolutely is, and you can see that. Like there are graphical improvements on this as opposed to Fallout 4, and I think frankly it makes the game makes the game less impressive to stream because like the amount of foliage detail turns into compressed garbage so easily.
Oh boy. Although, did you hear about the?
I think the radio's on.
Yeah, I'll turn it off.
Oh, nice. And did you hear about the current gen release of Fallout 4?
I just heard about that. Yeah, that they're doing a revision of that. And I think it's going to be a free update for everybody who already owns it. So I guess the question for me will that be better than whatever mods you already have installed? And there's also going to be some content with it, right? It's not just an engine enhancement.
They are adding a new story element that involves the Enclave.
Oh, interesting.
And they're bringing back. Oh, sorry.
Yep, sorry. Speaking of mods, I'm dying to see what some of the latest mods on Minecraft are with your updated vid cards, Narc, because we haven't done Minecraft in I don't know how long, but some of them are just like beyond spectacular. I'm dying to see what they're like. Because the last time we played Minecraft and everything, the best video card I had was a 1070, and I think your best card at the time was a 580. So lots of changes since then. So yeah, I'm curious about seeing how.
Are we engaging, Narc?
Yeah, we're engaging.
Did you have a sniper yet?
No, I do not. This pistol is the best weapon I have. All right, that wasn't so hard.
We neutralized it.
It's Miller time. Oh, Dick is having minor streaming buffering on his end.
I remember.
Are you in Europe, Deca? Do you need an adapter?
About this was that there were mutants here, and that there were raiders that cleared them out. Then those raiders must be pretty tough, so you wouldn't want to mess with them if they were able to get rid of the mutants. Now I gotta admit, I don't think we played it on stream, but I remember I did play through this encounter with Funkmon shortly after Wastelanders came out.
Oops.
And I got to admit, JL, if you're okay with it, I don't think I'm going to bother to engage with the NPC content here, and we'll just make it a fight unless you have an objection. What do you think?
I have no objection. Let's do what you want to do.
Okay, fine. Let's do a genocide.
So while I was muted, I was agreeing with Black Star's assessment that there has been a lot of improvement in the things you can do with Minecraft graphics.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I've seen a few videos. Some were like trying to push the 4090 to point where it would cry, which I thought was hysterical. Yeah. And yeah, it just looks.
Even on my older card, like with my 980, that's amazing stuff.
Attempting to jump that actually got me to level 6.
you gotta level up for jumping a fence.
Minecraft.
I was failing to jump a fence.
Well, we had some great mods back in the day. I mean, Narc, didn't we have like 200 separate mods in the games we would play?
The mod picks we had in Aurora and in the other series, like it was a lot
yeah, Aurora Novum as well as some of the others was just insane. In fact, what's funny is that I was demoing those for kids at the TV station. Oh yeah, we had this whole big thing where I got the projector and we set it up in the studio to project on the entire wall the Minecraft world, and we set up the green screen on the other so that kids in front of it we could put into the Minecraft world. It was fantastic. They loved it. We did that for like an hour and they were going nuts. What's funny is that of all the people that were playing Minecraft, everyone was just going and killing things until the last kid that wanted to play, and he was actually crafting stuff, which I thought was hysterical. And all of them were asking him what kind of mods we were putting in. And to be honest, because Narc set that up, I had no clue. I only told them that I couldn't tell you. We literally have like 200 of these mods, and my brother's the one who set up the server. So I felt bad I couldn't give them the list. But graphically, they said, that's not Minecraft. It's like, oh, yes, it is. It's just modded Minecraft. Because they're used to the stuff on like iPads and iPhones and the generic ones that just ran Java, literally vanilla.
You can't really mod.
No. So, but for them, it's like, oh wow, this is like phenomenal. And to see it, and what was so cool is that the way that I set it up is that the characters were literally as big as they were. So they were interacting and looking at the Minecraft characters that were the real same height as the kids. So it was kind of like a 1-to-1 thing. Oh yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. So I love that.
Okay, actually, I think we need to change the team setup here. I think
Are you gonna boot jail?
I think I need to make a team, and then you need to join mine because it's saying I enter solo. I cannot exit this as a team leader. You are the team leader, and you do not have this quest.
Sounds good, sir. Sorry about that. I'll do better next time.
It's totally your fault.
Lead team,
who is that third person there?
create new team. That's just my friends list, so that's somebody I played with in some activity. Who knows back when?
Oh man, you just booted them? Oh
Nope,
man,
no,
that's
they're
vicious.
not here.
Oh,
Expedition.
it's just a former playlist.
Bonus endurance. Let's do that.
Deca says, yeah, they're also moving everything over to a new creation system, so all mods expect to get ganked like Skyrim's were, though not quite as bad, as a lot of Skyrim mods are now tailored to the specific runtime version of the game you're playing. Yeah, see, it's like not all tides raise all ships, so you're constantly fighting over which version is with which. I remember Narc doing that on many occasions when something would break. That was always...
Okay. Dale, did you get that invite?
Son of a gun. That's a...
Yeah, because you're showing up as a red character. You can shoot.
Yeah.
No, I'm innocent. I was young. I needed the money.
Innocent people die. Didn't
Yeah,
you watch
that's
the
kinda how it
show?
happens.
We just watched
Let's see,
Fallout.
So this being West Virginia, what have they actually nuked?
Well, see, that's just it.
Wow.
Not much in this area actually did get nuked, and one of the reasons why it's centered here is that there is a location here, which is the White Spring Hotel, which was actually used by the United States as like a backup bunker for the president in the case of nuclear war.
Wasn't there a town that...
Well, that's interesting, except that it's still intact, so...
it was an...
I've accepted your invite. We are
Yep.
ready to go.
Yep, okay, so I'm entering as leader, so you should be entering as follower. You won't get quest credit, but at least we'll be on the same side.
Roger. Ooh, is it still a chance I can get this pie?
Ooh, there's some fire on that thing.
Dang it.
No, that's not the one. It's which is the one that's a guaranteed receive to that? Is it the one in Nuka World?
I believe it's Nuka World, yes.
Oh,
But yeah,
hello.
there's always... Oh,
Somebody had a
Oh,
shotgun.
goodness.
Not anymore, though.
hello. Ooh.
Finally see someone who gotta shoot him. Let's...
Oh, look, a small picture of what appears to have been a cat or a fox? Not that good now.
Oh, you know what?
Curious
Okay,
about
things
that bicycle
are not
upstairs.
precisely synced because that picture frame I don't see because in my universe the
Oh, yeah.
explosion blew that off of there. So that's one of those things
Oh.
where small items like that, I guess if they're not... Yeah, see, I see that thing on the floor here. Small picture
Yeah, it's
frame.
not...
There's also a
It's not instance mirroring, so...
Hmm.
So that's not
a
important
fusion
enough
core
to
without
sync.
a core? Huh. How about that save?
Yes.
Can you pick that save?
Big disappointment for me is that like in Fallout 4, these items are very important because this is where you get a fusion core that you use to power,
Yep.
power armor. And most of these things in 76 are empty.
Oh, I do like what they did to the fusion core in the series.
Oh, I see. They haven't seen through 4 episodes of the. They haven't mentioned.
Yeah, they haven't shown it yet.
shown them. So, fan, thank you. Yes, please. And it's still hard for
I was
me
like-
not to hoard cigarette cartons because they're one of the greatest value to weight ratios in the series.
Six.
Yes, this place actually
well,
has electricity
yeah.
working. That's...
Well, you know,
And
I was assuming everything that has electricity is nuclear powered.
Look, kids.
Because that's something in the vaults. When you see a bunch of terrorized, destroyed vaults, it's like, wait a minute, they still got electricity. It's like, oh, it must be a nuclear generator somewhere in the basement.
Okay, so all right, question. For those of you watching the Fallout series, did anyone pay attention to Maximus's fusion core charge in the power armor suit, waiting till it goes out?
We haven't got to that stage.
No.
He does in the second episode.
I wonder if they intentionally display how lockpicking works wrong to throw people off.
Do you mean the point where they're waiting for what's his face to die?
Probably.
No. It's like because when you see his face inside the suit, the UI of the actual power armor from the game
Yeah, he's on
is
his head.
displayed.
He's like Iron Man. Yeah.
And one of those one of the readouts is how much fusion core power he has left. And what I'm saying is every time I see that UI in the show, I'm like, okay, what's his fusion core level?
Oh, so you're monitoring it. Yeah, no, I haven't. I was too, concentrating on the actor's face and the context of what was going on. So,
because like he's got to be running out soon.
Well, I'm sure someone's going to time it and say, well, if he was actually in the game, the show is supposed to have a certain level of, I'm sure somebody's going to completely dissect that.
Well, it's going to be hard to dissect it now because Fallout 76 actually changed how fusion cores last from update to update.
Well, actually, sir, it was set up in such a way that we want to make sure that it's cohesive with the original game design system.
Yes, I'm sure someone will absolutely be doing that.
Okay, let's scrap all the junk. Let's break down some of these weapons as well.
Let's get a good sniper, damn it!
That's how we get. Yeah, I did get a sniper. I don't think it's a good sniper, but it's a sniper.
Well, even if you get a crappy sniper, can you improve it and make it a good one, or is literally just one that is good, and that's the only one you can make good?
That's how weapon progression works in Fallout 4. In other words, like the first example of a weapon you get will not wear out, and you can just keep it and mod it. And the way it is that when you level up your character in the perk interface, you gain the ability to make certain kinds of weapon modifications. In this game, what they tied this to is you learn how to modify a weapon by breaking a weapon down. So instead of the first sniper being like, oh, excited, I get to use a sniper. Instead, what you do is I immediately break that down for parts because maybe I'll learn a new sniper piece. And after I do this to tens or even hundreds of guns, you make your own weapon with the mods you want. So you get put up, and there's a lot of grind for materials, grinds for mods, grind for plans. So that's why I don't feel bad about turning off the free workbench crafting, because there are going to be so many roadblocks into making armor and weapons that you want, and then modifying it the way you'd like, that there's no need for extra gating of that material with grind for material.
Right. Well, it's funny because No Man's Sky with the latest update allows you now to build ships.
Yes, and I saw that.
The way they do the I figured we'd be doing that at some point. The way you build ships, though, is you can actually learn how to make the parts by breaking down free ships. So a lot of people are saying, hey, the way to really do it is to just go around and collect the relics of the crashed and damaged ships that you see around everywhere and break those down to learn the parts to make the ones you want.
Like for instance,
it is a pretty nice system.
Yeah,
I've tried it.
I just learned to make a different grip for the 10mm because we found a 10mm and I broke it down. And at the beginning of the game, like you learn very common and ordinary mods for weapons very quickly, and then you run out of those, and all the mods that are rare, that are very powerful, only drop randomly a certain time. So eventually you get to a bit where you haven't unlocked all the mods, but you don't know which ones you don't have, and you could break down a bunch of weapons of that type before finally getting the last of those mods.
Gotcha. What's funny that Leo was saying, joking about, what if they nuke something in West Virginia? What would they really be destroying?
Not necessarily joking, but yeah.
Well, no, I wasn't joking. I really want a nuke for West Virginia. I mean,
yeah. Well, what kills me is that recently in the game, one of those, often. Yeah, one of those massive surveys.
We got a holotape here, the Wayward Interrogation.
Oh yeah, do we want to do plot? I was gonna skip it, but
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we can skip it.
No, we're just.
I'll put it on
time filling,
and we can kill.
As I was saying, the reason I mentioned that is because apparently in one of the top listings for like some of the best places to live in the country right now is a town, I believe, either in Virginia or bordering in North Carolina somewhere. So that's not far from West Virginia. So we'd hate to lose the nice places too, just because you want to get the not so nice places.
Nice places. I'm in North Carolina.
Exactly.
I'm screwed.
Well, If they hit west, then yes.
I don't know.
Ugh. Gotta go to Mars Hill then.
Well, seems like that'd be worth finding out, wouldn't it?
Yes?
That was a short dungeon, Narc.
Oh, this is a really short dungeon, and I remember Funk and I also messed up at the very same place here, which is that like we figured that was it. We went out, we wanted to go back to talk to somebody, and we skipped the message that says, no, what you're supposed to do now is, quote, leave a message for the gang.
Do you have a place to go?
Oh,
Which
of
you do
course.
by writing a message on the wall by going up to the prompt and it fades to black, and then you
Go upstairs. Have a meal and a drink. Share what you
leave the wayward
Leave the
alone.
wayward alone.
memories.
Leave Brittany alone.
We can talk.
And if I wanted to leave?
Romans
Oh.
go home. Ah!
Oh, geez, you're almost hitting jail.
Care of our own.
I don't think I can hit Jail. He's on my team.
You sure?
Also-
Friendly fire was on. But yeah, he went at running in like Rambo without a jockstrap, and he almost walked right into Narc's line of fire.
Very funny.
It's true. I watched it. I'm like, wait, is Narc trying to kill him or what? It's like, no, just Jail was running in crazily.
Metal chest piece.
And now
Oh,
am
it's
I
level
running
10, so I
crazy?
can't wear it. See, we're low level scrubs in this game now. And again, also a thing the
Your
other
gear's too
Fallout
good.
games don't have. The other Fallout games didn't have a thing where, this is a level 10 gun and I'm a level 5 character, so I can't use this gun. I mean, like, some of the games do
You
have
need a level
like,
5 finger to pull a level 5
requirements
trigger.
for stuff. Like you need to be certain strength to use certain kinds of guns. But it didn't have level requirements.
That's just silly. How's the shotgun you
Okay.
grabbed?
The shotgun I grabbed, I'll let you know when I kill someone with it.
Oh, did you grab it or did Narc grab it?
Loot in containers is instant, so basically we could both get it, unless it's something that's visible out in the world. Like if I pick up this blowtorch here that I'm looking at, then Jail probably can't take it. But if it's in a container, that's specific to you. You can, so everybody gets to
Gotcha.
loot containers, and dead
Narc,
bodies
what-
are the same way.
What is this green pokey thing on the right of your hand?
Oh,
I've been seeing
I'm
that
I'm wearing a ghillie suit, and that's sticking out off of me into the field of vision.
Oh,
What do you
nice.
got,
I like
a
that it,
twig?
I like that it actually applies that to your first-person model.
Where I'm trying to. Yeah. See.
Oh yeah, it's a blue swampy. What's with the pointy hat? See, the thing is, the whole point of the ghillie suit would be to blend in, and you're not doing nothing with all that blue on.
True.
Oh yeah, I can create it. I can create as much ammo as I want. It's infinite crafting.
Oh my god, those glasses.
I think what that means is that as long as you have some of a material, then any crafting you want to do doesn't reduce your quantity of that material. But I don't think we can make anything we want if we don't like have the plans or some of the material. I'm not sure.
I don't
Oh,
need
I
the
think-
game.
I think
can
you're
quit
right.
anytime I want.
I was just happy that I could make ammo for my shotgun, and I'm like, yay! I could shoot things again.
See, but that's what we need to do in this country for gun control. We don't need to control guns. We need to control the ammo.
I think every bullet should cost $5,000.
I just think we remove
Although
their access
actually
to it and
under-
prevent people from making it.
Under ammo, it does seem to be allow me to build pretty much anything I want, including explosive ammo, energy ammo. But I can make Molotovs, but I can't make even ultracite ammo. Wow, that's like that's endgame nonsense.
Deca says for ambient loot in instance, if he went in as team lead or solo.
See, that's the unfortunate thing is that like unlike Destiny, in order to get maximum progress out of this, the way you have to do it is that first I would Jail would help me do this mission, and then
And
for
then
him
you'd
to get
help
credit
him.
for it, he'd have to do it again. We'd have to leave and then come back inside. All interiors are instanced, and they are instanced to team leader.
I can see that.
That's annoying.
It is actually.
Yeah. But again, so is Destiny.
Oh yeah, don't even start. Don't even start. Like I know everybody's getting really excited right now, and I'm
Why?
Oh, because of the new thing. Have you not been seeing the news?
What new thing?
Okay,
I
the new,
heard that what's his name, who was project lead.
Let's
left.
get out of this. Let's get out of here and start walking back to where we're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
Aye.
I've been so uninterested in all of it, and considering a certain person's political aspirations.
They've announced a new enemy race, and
what?
Yes, there's now the Dread. So
now?
basically, exactly. Like the Witness had a whole race, and they unified to become one character, and now they're giving them a new race of minions that are based on some of the raid bosses. So like Rolk or one of the other characters. They basically just making a new class that's called the Dread.
Oh God! Wow.
And another raider.
Isn't this the same problem they had with Halo, where they brought in the brutes way too late, where everyone's like saying who?
And the other thing they announced is a new subclass called Prismatic, which basically allows for certain limited temporary unifications of dark and light subclasses.
Is it red? Is the color for it red? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Okay, because my only curiosity with this right now is that apparently there was a leak either months and or a year ago that supposedly had iconography with a HUD that showed a red subclass, and everybody either called bullshit or they said, "Oh my God, we got a new subclass," and I was like, "We'll wait and see." So, just out of curiosity, I would like to know whether or not A, it's red, or B, has any graphical semblance to the leak, to see whether or not this has been something long-term in development that got out.
For me, the important thing was that, like, since we had 3 playable races and 3 playable classes, and then we had 3 light subclasses, and then we got dark subclasses. We got 1, and then we got 2. To me, the most predictable thing in the world was, since Bungie likes 3s, 6s, and 7s, we'll get 1 more dark subclass, and then we'll get a 7th unifying thing. In other words, give a multi-class, give everybody to mix and match. And instead, it seems like, I think that just because they need to get this over with, they've just skipped over that. So now there are 3 light subclasses and 2 dark subclasses, and they've just made the 6th one the multi-class. They just skipped over the extra dark subclass. Probably because, I mean, too much work to make up new effects without doubling yourself. Like, you've already put in a bunch of stuff in the game. You're just going to end up doubling yourself. You've got ice, and you've got fire, and you've got void, and you've got electric and stuff. They're probably thinking, we can't make up a new thing.
Like, what's left?
Poison, honestly, but maybe they just don't want to do that for reasons.
Well, how could they do poison? They were already using green for the thread thing, which I always thought was silly.
True.
Deca says, they're making 3s and 2. Yeah, the 3 and 2s end is nigh. Well, considering that we have such little time to enjoy whatever new stuff they throw in at this late stage.
Okay, Jay, we are leaving.
I'm less excited anyway. But again, I'm totally off D2 as it is right now. They've done too many horrible things at the end. They should have kept it to 7 years, not 10. The whole big thing with Sony and behind the scenes firings and
is that a tart firing at you, Joe?
Future politicians.
I don't know, but I'm leaving.
And now abandoning staff. It's like
yeah, a friend of mine got laid off, and I'm not happy.
See? It's affecting people on a very personal level over here. So, no. And to be honest, the absolute nail in the coffin was that guy saying, when people asked, well, other companies like Nintendo have, reduced executives' bonuses and check prices based on terrible sales. Have you, at any stage, thought of lowering salaries for Bungie's staff at the executive level because of the, failure of hitting their expectations? Their reply was, we're not that kind of company. And my reply to that is, well,
not anymore, you're not.
I'm not going to be ordering any more Destiny 2 because apparently I'm not your kind of customer.
Oh crap! Oh right, I am down.
Oh wow. That was some.
So am I.
Oh no!
Molotov
Cool.
cocktail?
Darn
Well,
it. Okay,
there
we have, to be
you go.
more, we have to be more careful.
So thanks
We were
everyone for
both
tuning in.
A-pone
We certainly
and
hope you
drink in that
enjoyed.
retreat.
Yeah. What I really see the problem here with this is though is that it's gonna let us it's gonna let us respawn everywhere, but we should respawn here because the idea was not to use death as a replacement for
5,000
fast
feet.
travel.
Now, well, wait a minute. Did you fix fast travel again? Because you said you were going to, and
No, I didn't mean that.
so you
All right,
lied?
I'm gonna respawn at the camp, which is the fairground, and we'll walk back from there.
Oh yeah, that won't
where
be too
where
hard.
are you able to spawn, Joe?
Fairground.
Okay, fine. I'll be there in a second.
Well, considering you both got your asses handed to you, I don't think it's that fair.
Well, it was grenades and turrets. Let's go back via. Let's see. Let's go via 94. Let's cut across the ground here to Route 94.
Roger.
So this way. This way. Yeah, it's this way.
Also, I want a replica of that 10mm gun that the Brotherhood was using in that opening episode. That's the perfect representation of the first game's gun.
Ah, okay. Because I was
Right.
noticing that like it's not until Lucy gets the 10 mil that we see the Fallout 3 version of that weapon. But what he
Yes.
was using was different. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's the 10. I was wondering which version of the 10 mil they were going to use. And I guess the answer is
That's
both.
the
I
Fallout
guess.
1 and 2, yeah.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot that was a revolver, too.
Do they have variable cartridge lengths as well as widths? Or by variations, you're talking about types of ammo, whether they penetrating,
Well, I know
armor
the
piercing,
Fallout
explosive.
3. I know
have
the
no
Fallout
ammo.
3/4.
I have no ammo. I have to go back to my corpse. I have no ammo.
Wait, I thought you could make as much ammo as you wanted.
I think I turned on the option that drops more stuff from corpses, so I need to go back and get more stuff because I don't have anything.
Oh my god.
We're on the same boat, Narc.
Yeah. Okay, when it said
Wow.
drop more
Last
things,
death,
I didn't think the thing was ammo. Honestly.
Why wouldn't you think?
Oh crap.
Ah!
What is this?
Run away!
Those are floaters. They're friends of super mutants. They're bad news for us.
Apparently.
Let's get out of there.
Yes, I'm going in the right direction. Just
bugger.
I should just not stop.
See, this is where you want to get
Ow.
a hang glider.
All damage
or
is
a
0, so just
jetpack.
jump off a cliff. It's okay.
Right?
I regret nothing. Now are they gonna follow you down here? I mean, you said they float.
They probably won't go that far. Ooh, I don't
Quick,
know,
follow
one-
that
one's
level 6.
trying.
I know, that's what I mean. He's attacking still, and Jail's way ahead further than you.
I've caught up. I'm fine.
Not by much.
Yeah, Deca says, and 4 is different from 3 gun. You know, without Creation
yes.
Club.
Yeah, but they look
content
they look
bringing both to 4.
more they look more like each other. You know, like but
Like,
it's not like
I
they're
could tell
different
that was a Fallout. I could tell that was a Fallout 3 and 4 gun instantly when they showed it.
All right, let's see
So,
if
Narc,
I can.
when-
Oh, and these people are alive now.
And a good thing too, 'cause hopefully they have bullets. Why is she wearing a dress? She's gonna get killed by the
Did any-
mosquitoes.
Did any time that you watched the series, did you go, somehow, the Enclave returned?
No. Okay, I have some bullets now.
No, the only thing in this series that I think I would possibly complain about, so I don't want anyone to think I'm like I was totally fanboying, is that some of the animations with the flying armor suit I thought was
clumsy?
a little
stiff.
I think they did the best they could with the budget limitations and maybe the time that they had, but it was, I'll just say it wasn't perfect. it wasn't by all means horrible. It wasn't something that you would laugh at. It wasn't MST3K jokeable. But it wasn't as good as like AAA cinema or AAA TV could have been. Mm-hmm. And that was the only effect that jumped out at me as like, that's a little janky there. The rest of it I thought was great.
I do prefer the jetpack add-on to the power armor rather than the, I'm an Iron Man.
The Iron Man, I
yeah, they made that a little simpler, I think. But yeah, if you had complaints, what else would you? Because I figured you'd be able to pick out a lot more than me. I mean, for me, it's just a production quality level.
The thing on the ghoul character where they're like, oh, he's buried, and every once in a while we dig him up, and they cut a piece off of him, and I was like, I didn't know what was up with that. The scene
I was like,
itself
how long was that?
Obviously, seems like it's a reference to Fallout New Vegas, because what happens in the beginning of New Vegas, like we saw when we played it the other day, is that you get shot and you get buried, and then you get dug up by the robot.
Right.
So you
can he got buried with those 2 packs of drugs, and I'm like, how long ago was this? Because who wouldn't steal those?
Not sure what they were intending with all of that. Yeah, so I have no bobby pins. I can't even pick a lock. Where?
Where are my bobby pins? Damn it! I don't think you should find those in the middle of a firefight.
I need to find my corpse.
Are you wasting more rounds than you need to? Because those are explosive. Right?
Here it goes. Here's my... Okay. Ammo. Yeah, it looks like what you drop is scrap and ammo. And drugs and food. Wow. Okay. So that was like you drop everything when you die.
Apparently. Jail, did you get your bag?
I got my bag. I'm good.
Okay, cool. So... now we can engage targets, because, man, you've got, like, 13 minutes left.
Lucky number.
Because I want to go finish this show.
Hey, these people are blowing up into confetti! Grenade!
Whoa.
So much torrenting going on. Oh, I love the message when the turn popped out in the show. It says, please remain calm. I am glad they resisted the temptation to give it a voice as if it was from like Black Mesa or, some of the Portal games. Yeah. I can see how they could easily be tempted to do that, and somebody would like scream, "No, you can't do that! That's a crossover!" Oh, we can't even hear his gunshots. Oh, I thought it was just music. We can't get any audio from this game.
Oh, you're not getting...
That's annoying. Not in the stream, anyway. Well, at least not from what I'm hearing.
There.
Thank you. I thought literally. I just thought Jail's music was muted.
Let's see.
It's okay. We've been following Narc for most of the combat anyway, so.
That's fair.
Nope, now I'm overweight. Okay, I need a workbench.
I keep eating and eating.
I got an elliptical you can borrow, but it's going to take weeks to get the desired results.
I thought you were going to give him like an Omaze shot or something. Or well, actually, no. Ozempic. What is it called?
What the heck is an Ozempic?
It's a new drug that all rich people are using for weight removal.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's supposed to be this ultra thing, but it's supposed to be good for like type 2 diabetics. So a lot of them are screaming that the diabetics need it more than you rich people who just want to stay thin and eat things you're not supposed to. But of course, the rich people are saying, "Shut up."
That is usually what they say.
That's just depressing.
Oh, it's sad and disgusting, and I'm waiting to find out that it ends up, causing you to grow a third eye in the middle of your forehead or something. Because every
somebody up
my
top there,
friends
Joe.
are all diabetic, and
Yeah, it's just that every weight loss drug that everyone says is the endo cure. I remember when Fen came out and everyone was going, "Oh my God, Fen is the greatest! I can eat whatever I wanted," and then everyone was dropping dead of massive heart attacks.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm. So,
not from weight loss, but other things.
I'm just waiting for the same results to happen to this. It's like every time, every major corporation out there in drugland tries to come up with something new, it ends up causing more problems than it solves.
Okay, I'm now ready for our second departure attempt at jail.
Yay!
Okay, coming at you.
Literally hopping the fence.
No fall damage. Okay.
Whee!
Ow! I took fall damage.
Narc lied.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I had full health or at least as much health with that little rat. But now I look at my health and it's like half gone.
Which one is your health?
Maybe it's reduced.
It's the yellow bar.
Maybe it's not 0. Maybe it's reduced.
Oh,
I was watching that and it did not go down.
Oh, it didn't. Oh.
I was watching it and I was. You want me to do it again?
Yes.
I'll do it again.
I want to watch you do it again.
Alright.
Do it again.
For science.
Alright. What? Okay.
We must throw ourselves off of buildings for science.
Yep.
I mean, there is a quest in Fallout 3 that demands you do that.
That's true.
Hey, I'm totally of the volition that we absolutely could be wrong. I just think since we're here, we might as well get proof.
Sure. Yeah. Find the highest thing you can and jump off it.
Yourself off buildings.
Exactly. There's that red tower right there in the back, the water tower. Get to the top of that and jump.
That would be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun. You're seeing me break my legs and crawl.
You want
the water tower.
You want more streamers, do you know? Give the fans what they need.
And what they need is to see you jump off.
As you wish, Captain. As you wish.
Damn clippable.
Oh dear.
Let's see. Up here. Oh, nope, that wasn't high enough. What water tower?
There's a story in Jaws where apparently Robert Shaw was trying to get Dreyfus
top of the building
to jump from the top of the boat. Dickens says, yeah, the thing is diabetics are a large enough group that you don't want to piss them off without another income group, so it probably won't kill people, Blackstar. That's what they said about Fen, and yet... It's perfectly safe.
I'm dead!
Oh, wow. Safe! Okay.
Oh, all right, then.
Jail, you're absolutely
correct.
We were wrong.
Do not do anything. I'm coming.
I love how he's waving his hands around. Help me. So, Narc, there's fall damage. My question is...
Okay. So fall damage is reduced, but not by that much.
Not by that much. I would have died.
You did die.
If not.
Sort of.
For some definition of die.
Well, if he wasn't here to revive him, then yes, he would have.
Gotta love finding rifles in paper bags.
Mm-hmm. But again, like I said, I was totally willing to say that we were wrong, and we were wrong. Right. You were right.
I don't know what I was seeing.
I am vindicated. This is extremely horrifying.
You should feel better. Of course, your health is right now back to the same part that it was before when you took the stems, but...
True.
There will always be bigger stems.
Right.
Oh, goodness.
See, the joy, though, Deca, is that if turns out that Ozempic does, in fact, actually is lethal to people, the good news is that hopefully it will take out all the rich first.
Well, there you go.
Hey, they're the ones hoarding it.
Oh, cultists. Level 8 cultists.
Right, he's a 6 and you're a what?
1, 2,
you're
3.
An 8. Okay.
I count 5.
Okay, can you snipe them from here?
Oh, this is a shotgun, so maybe I can... Oh!
No, Narc's sniping them. I'm just wondering if Jail has a sniper, too.
Shotguns are the best sniper rifles.
He's a 9. Yeah, what's the range of shotguns in this game? Because Destinies are terrible.
There you are. Not good.
Yeah, they're kicking your ass there, man. I think Jail died.
Thank you, Narc.
All right.
Oh,
so-
I thought you were. I thought you were becoming a cultist.
Well, cultists have no logic.
I'm not a fan of cults myself.
I don't know how well this comes across on the screen, but like this is really pretty. And I think actually the Misty is working in this area because like that's where the mist is, right? The mist is the filling in of the trees. It's kind of like the distance fog.
I've been playing
Oop,
this.
oh my god, what?
It's a great end of the mist.
Darn
who's this?
insult bot.
Insult bot.
This is insult bot.
On your arm. The dumbest thing is that you mainly use it as a nightlight. Boom. Roasted.
Do you remember the character in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy who was making it his life's work to insult every sentient being in the
Yes,
universe?
it's in alphabetical order. Yes,
In alphabetical
I remember
order.
him.
Basically, that's this. Insult bot is a random encounter where he comes and gives you a random insult. And I think he also actually gives you an inventory item that proves that it happened. Although, I don't have it. There's usually a note that is...
Oh, can you trade?
Talk to him?
Thank
That
you
is-
for your participation.
He didn't. There's usually a note that says you have been insulted.
Oh, don't shoot him.
I didn't do that.
No, Jail
I
did.
didn't do that.
Jail blew him
Jail.
away.
He
I
doesn't
just made
even-
this world a better place, and you think I did a bad thing?
Yes, I wanted him as a companion.
No, what's funnier is to run away from him because he can't complete his cycle unless he gets within a certain
Until
range
he-
of you. And if
Oh,
you run
right.
away from him, he will follow you anywhere on the map. It's hilarious.
Well, now we
Yeah,
can't
that
run at
would've been
all.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was disappointed with that.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Capacitors full of hot air.
And
Yeah,
Capacitors are people,
definitely
too.
I definitely want foggier weather. I'm going to try that next time.
Or at least, having an approximation of the person in this environment is nice.
yeah, everybody needs a friend. Yeah, Deca said, yeah, that meme has shown up in a few games, including Fable 3.
An iBot?
But I love the one in Hitchhikers
Yeah, it
because,
is.
yeah, the trick was not just insulting everyone in the known universe. It was doing it in alphabetical order. And he had this thing where how old he was and how far he had to travel and the
Right.
next one on his list. And he asks his
Poor guy
AI
was so bored.
companion for watching some TV shows. Is there any he hasn't seen very much? He says, well, this one you've only seen 50,000 times. He's like, okay, let's watch that one. I loved that. I thought that was absolutely hysterical.
Hey, there's an iBot.
Yeah, I'm dropping
Ooh,
some
we're gonna go
weight
shoot him
before I
too.
attack him, yeah. Yeah, he's labeled as hostile. He belongs to... Oh, it's a scabber. Leave him alone.
See, I wish there was a hacking option where you could like make all the robots you run into, even if they're crazy, you could make them your friends.
They have that in Fallout 4. That is an option in
see?
Fallout 4.
So theoretically, they could do that with Mr. Handy, and then Snip wouldn't want to kill everyone. He would be your friend.
I just know the only thing I did with Codsworth was turning into a big, gigantic killer thing from Terminator with treads and all. And he
you
still
mean
had that
big
voice.
track vehicle with the dual guns in Terminator that was crushing skulls?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Leah would like that. It's got tracks.
Don't worry, ma'am.
What?
I'm
No,
not
it's
going to
not
steal
just
your
the tracks.
banjo.
Wait a minute, you
because
don't
they
like that
look
vehicle because of the tracks? That's like its signature thing. Otherwise, it's just a truck.
I just like those forward cab missile truck things sometimes.
Oh yeah, but they're terrible driving over the wheels like that. They handle like horrible.
I don't really care.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that those things have tracks. That's a signature piece.
For that one in this game, I suppose.
Well, it's just otherwise it's just a big truck, and then who cares?
No, it's not. No, it's not that.
You just love cabs forward of the wheels.
No, with the whole missile thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's like it's a type of thing that I don't even know what the name is, but you usually see them paraded around in Eastern European countries or China or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad Funk wasn't there to see me die jumping off a cliff to prove you guys wrong.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure we'll highlight it for him later. Why do you think you would do epic laughing? Is that it?
That would actually be fun.
Yeah.
I just think he wouldn't let me down on it.
Oh no. Well, we're definitely not going to let you, off the hook for that. Yeah, Nar, can we get some Funkmon epic laughing on the soundboard?
Oh, I will do my best.
That would be cool, because that way, because all the times he can't make it, we can just go to it on the soundboard. Because there are a bunch of clips that we've had in Funk in different episodes of him completely losing his shit.
You guys were playing Destiny 2 one time, and you were talking about a fan, and I just said De Niro, Snipes, the fan, and that cracked him up like nothing else.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
It was just so random and out there, and not even his most popular or known film, but the fact that you called it, quoted it, and said it right then and there, and the timing absolutely just cracked him the F up. It was great. I've gotten him a couple times with my stuff, but it's always very rare, and when he does lose it, he loses it for a good long while.
I so envy him. Laughing can be so fun.
Okay.
Transporter
Scorched
erector
on the
launcher
left.
is the word that I'm looking for.
What's the word?
Transporter erector launcher.
Okay.
Phrasing.
That's literally what the vehicle is called.
Are they supposed to be exploding confetti, Narc?
Yes. All weapons are set to do that.
Ah.
Or at least to have a chance to do that.
Do you have to get a headshot?
No. Just a thing that can happen.
Bummer.
Quick, run over by that car, Joe.
Roger.
Ooh, did you throw the soccer ball?
I'm here. What are you doing? Ah!
He's
Hey!
I honestly thought when I said that, you were going to go, I'm not doing that. That's too, I was going to fall for that. And then he does it. I'm like, all right, well, now he's gone over there. I kind of have to do it now.
Oh, man. He didn't.
I wasn't actually going to do that. I was just going to be yeah. You were like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, because that was the first thing Funkmon did when we played.
Yep.
Was literally to run over a car and empty a gun into the car and make it explode
and blow it up. And of course, that was a fuel truck, so of course it had even more.
Well, they all blew up, though. I mean, honestly, they all.
What's funny is that it didn't even hurt me.
Maybe he considered it friendly fire. I don't know.
But yeah, Funk always found interesting in new ways to betray.
Oh yes. That's
Oh
my
boy,
favorite
yes.
thing to do.
Above all else.
He tried to punch me to death in Marathon, and I was like, Funk, I'm warning you. Keep punching, I'm warning you. And then Narc was in the line of fire. I'm like, Narc, get out of the way. And then I just unload on him, and he dies like that. And then he decides to kill me on the next level in revenge. It's like, your revenge... You don't even make sense anymore, Funk.
I don't think that's his objective.
No, but he sure likes to get even. That's the best exchange we both had.
See, that bus window really takes me out of the universe, because I cannot believe that something
Too
this
clean?
old is that clean.
Yeah.
Way too clean. Not buying it.
Not broken.
Yep. And
And
not,
unbreakable.
and not susceptible to exploding gunfire,
Okay.
but it
That
blows
one
up
killed
with
me.
gasoline? That seems weird.
Okay, that was amusing.
How can you shoot a swarm?
Oh. You get lucky. They fly right into
Oh
the
wait, were
bullet.
you killed by the bus that exploded when you
Yes,
shot the
killed by the
window?
exploding
Yes.
bus, but the window is still clean and intact.
Yeah, that takes me out. Unplayable, uninstall.
It's all unplayable on it.
Okay, now you better hurry up. You get into your objective because you're already 5 minutes over, man, and I really want to finish this show.
Not quite, but almost. Whoa, Speedy. Speedy Gonzalez here.
Yeah, they are like Minecraft child
Are
zombies.
they on drugs? What is going on here? He's like... The resolution of what I'm looking at is so low, it's like Narc is just targeting trees.
I can see him running around, but
I can barely discern what he's
Yeah.
aiming at through his sights. I can't see shtick.
Okay, I think we can cut off the road south from here and directly pass by Vault 76 on the way out.
okay.
Sounds good.
I was wondering about that. Okay, so it's Vault 76, not 1976.
That is
It's
correct.
supposed to be a commemorative thing also because it's supposed to be the 100th. Like what was going on was the commemoration of 2076 as of being the the 400th anniversary of the country, the year before the bombs dropped.
Oh, okay.
So that was the year in which Vault-Tec announced and commissioned one of the first vaults, which was Vault 76, named, numbered that for that reason.
Okay.
Don't even get me started on Vault 69 because that was supposed to be the fun vault, and that's not how that one ended up.
Oh, that's a pity.
Oh, tell me about it.
And by the way, these visual artifacts that I'm seeing here, like for instance, you can see a shape against that tree on the left that really is not supposed to be there, which is a combination of the mist and
Not
the
really.
sun rays and a bunch of stuff. And this was actually fixed in the latest version of the AMD driver. However, I had to roll back because under the newest version of the AMD drivers, Fallout New Vegas crashes on launch.
They haven't updated it yet.
No.
Right.
That's terrible.
Yep, that is the case. I don't know if it's been fixed yet. But yeah, you can see that like what's happening is that there are shadows of the foliage cycling through the sun rays as they hit the fog. Like that's what this white stuff is there, and it's not supposed to be happening, and it was fixed a while ago.
Okay. I see it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Kind of neat though.
It's like the mist has a reflection.
Yes, it's a foliage shadow. It's like a god ray malfunction or something.
Gotcha.
Atris made a mistake in writing the world.
More bees.
Bees.
If I had just one flamethrower. Oof.
If I had a flamethrower, that ought to be a thing.
Shotgun should work. Honey!
Wait, shooting
know what
bees
happened?
works?
You know what would happen if I had a flamethrower? It would be honey roasted.
There you go. Goodness, that part's coming up a lot in my French lessons lately.
Is it?
Yeah. Seems like every other exercise is, Fais-vous du miel?
Well, this is not Tavu Snoo Snoo.
Not sure why there was a raider there, but Like, why is there a
We
radio?
shouldn't
this
have been
close?
there.
Oh my god! Doc!
Well, that's a lot of
A nuclear cascade of car explosions. I love it.
I just wanted to blow up my own car in this stream just once. I had no idea it was going to be stacked like that.
Yep. Ended up
It's like
blowing
me,
them all up.
you know, using a fire spill in Divinity.
Well, anybody using a fire spell in Divinity, let's be honest.
Well,
I
and
think
to
it
be
was
honest,
Game's just
often
made that
me
way.
Screwing it up.
this one, the entire map doesn't turn into fire, so there is that.
Gosh, everything was made of oil in that game.
I think I made it worse more than often than.
Only when it was cursed oil.
And Deccan says, yeah, there's a purposeful effect like that in Pacific Drive. Also a good game. Yeah, I've heard good things about that. I've been curious about checking out somebody's stream on that game.
Yeah, see, Pennington. All the Mr. Handys that are domestics have British names and accents.
Only the Pennington men can pass.
Jabe?
Oh, crap.
Aw, he was wearing a cool hat.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah,
unlike the Halo era games where it's like, if you see an enemy with a weapon, you can kill them and get that weapon. Weapon drops are randomized and have nothing to do with what a character is actually using.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that myself personally.
I don't either, honestly.
What you see is what you should get.
Yep. Oh, crap.
Oh!
Hello. Where'd he come from?
Over there.
The F. Well, I hope you didn't just blow up the stuff you were trying to get.
Yeah, that's one of the notes from the original Responders quest. So that's from the old version where all the responders are dead, except responders are not dead, but all those notes are still out there and nobody's bothered to collect them. It's kind of weird.
It's like, when are they going to bury this guy?
Yeah, like, it's not quite as bad as, like, current living responders are sitting in the room with a responder corpse that they refuse to clean up and they're just talking about it and don't acknowledge it's there. Like, it's not as bad as that, but almost.
Okay, so
the first yeah.
You stopped by
I wish I had caught
76.
that.
Now what?
We need to go to the bar and say, hey, we've told the raiders to leave you alone. And that'll finish this quest.
Yay!
Romans go home.
Eat
Now write that 100 times.
Money, eat
Money, skip these, the outs.
Hail Caesar! Hail Caesar! If it's not done by morning,
This is motion towards, is it not? What case is that? Dative, sir? The funny thing about that is that if somebody had to ask me that question, I would have given the same wrong answer. Because I would, like, if somebody asked me, what is motion toward? I would have also said dative. Just would have been my first thought.
But do you know Latin?
I took 3 years of Latin in high school.
Oh, okay.
Can't speak a word.
My sister did that too.
Icilius est pater.
I had 2 years and 2 summer school courses of Spanish.
Latella
Can't speak
est
a word.
mater. Grumbio.
Hablo español.
I had about 4 years
I-
of French, but then I actually used it at home as well, so...
Oh, see, well,
Stuck.
there you go.
Yeah.
See, I should have done French because most of my family's, French Canadian on one side, so I'm like,
There
that
you go.
would have been useful.
I should have done Russian, but I had no idea I was going to
I-
end up using it, so I never thought of it.
Duh.
I'd learn German.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? So you can hang out with Funk?
He speaks
Why?
German?
No, but he goes to weird bridges to,
is there
perform
fault?
fellatio.
Why is there a feral ghoul right outside the Wayward?
I know, abre la puerta, por favor. Policía.
That sounds like Spanish?
It is.
Okay.
That's
Wait, boss.
police.
Okay,
Open the door.
Okay.
It would have been a lot more
You
useful
too?
if I had learned Spanish,
You
but
managed to get those punks out of our hair yet?
See, we need to trade.
Well, that's good to hear. Though judging by that look in your eye, I have exactly 0 follow-up questions on the method of your negotiations.
It is wise.
But you did good. Shows maybe you could be trusted. Maybe. But
I wouldn't go that
still
far.
The issue of my missing muscle. They went out chasing some unsavory characters. Never came back. They're 2 of the tougher cookies I've met in my day. So them being gone this long means something happened. You track them down? Maybe I remember a thing or 2 about this Crane fella.
Like, all right, fine, I'll do that. It's a quest in a video game, so I will do it.
Number 1's named Polly. Got a transmitter in her. You could track her with your little radio there. Missing person number 2 goes by Saul. Those 2 are closer than toes and bad stilettos. So if you find one, the other's likely close by. Find them for me, and I'll pay you for the privilege of getting to yell at them in person.
I love
When
how the
was the last
suggestion.
time she saw a stiletto, let alone knows what one is?
Yeah, and okay, what are you paying? I'll do it.
Appreciate it. Polly's tracking frequency is 99.7. The once proud home of Appalachia's smooth jazz. I figured someone should get some use out of it. Find out what happened to him. If I need to find new people, I'd like to at least ensure I tried to do right by the old ones.
Since we're
We're
probably not
being
gonna
killed by the Light FM.
Since we're probably not gonna see it, the insinuation here is that you're after a romantic couple, and it's just that one half of it is a robot. But anyway.
Now, yeah, speaking of that, wasn't there a robot that was filled with the super rich that all went into robot bodies and there were just brains inside the little domes there?
There is.
I vaguely remember that from the evaluation.
In Fallout 4's DLC, Far Harbor, there's a murder mystery that occurs in a vault where the characters are robo-brains, which is the specific kind of robot that has human brains in them.
And the woman, and she was the one that apparently had like set the whole thing up, and she's the one that gets murdered, and you have to try and figure out who else in the vault was responsible. And they're all robot bodies, and you see the brains inside the little glass jars.
No, robo brains are awesome, and actually Fallout 76 also has a quest in it that is devoted to like the pre-war lore about creation of robo brains.
The vault.
And Fallout 4 also has one. Automatron, I think, also has one. A segment.
I remember that as a thing.
That's about that. So
cool.
I liked Automatron.
Automatron is good. The thing I dislike, and I wish there was I'd like to see if there's a mod for it. When you finish Automatron, I want those random encounters in the world to stop, which plot-wise they should.
You'd think.
Yes.
But the problem is that because it was designed to be DLC that you'd play after you finish the main game, those enemies are tough as nails. Like they are some of the hardest enemies you're gonna play. And the problem is that like you can end up triggering that DLC, I think anytime after level 15 by just wandering to a certain part of the map. So a lot of people like when they're doing long playthroughs, deliberately avoid that part of the map to not trigger that DLC so that you don't get these random tough robots added to world spawns that you have to deal with while you're doing the rest of the main plot.
Deca says, wasn't that actually New Vegas DLC? Is that right?
No,
that was for...
the Vault Murder Mystery is Far Harbor. It's a Far Harbor Vault. I forget the number.
I could go look it up. Hold on. See the evaluation here and whatnot. It was one of the later ones, if I recall.
It was a... I'm trying to recall the big story content DLC for. I think Far Harbor may have been the first. Because I remember they kept making a big deal that this is going to involve Nick.
Okay, the Robo Brains. Hold on. Yeah, I found the spot. I just got to go back to the beginning, see what number it is.
Yeah, the iBot companion mod for Fallout 4 has always been one of my favorite add-ons. You get to make your own iBot.
I think it's 118. Hold on a second. I got it.
Yep, it's Vault 118.
Yeah, to attract the right type of customer, they said.
Yeah, it's a vault that's underneath a hotel.
Yes. Yeah, it had the privileged hotel above it and had the other class of people to serve them.
Yep. All right, so it seems like the general assumption is that most of us that watched the Fallout show seem to pretty much like it. Whether or not
Thumbs
we
up.
were fans of Fallout before this. So there are 8 episodes in total. Dale's already watched them all. Black Star and I have watched 4. So
we're going to watch the other 4 in a second.
We're going to watch the other 4. Now, unfortunately, there's not going to be a stream next week because of work. April and May are really, really nuts for me. So the schedule's going to be
busy.
The schedule's going to be rough for a while, even where it's like I can't even just bump to Sunday because Sunday is also full.
Also filled, yeah.
That's what a lot of April May is going to be like.
Yeah, with all the weekend events and whatnot, it's kind of expected. So
yeah. I do think there's a possibility of the 27th, but we also might end up having to lose that as well. But if I can, crossed. Then maybe we'll follow up and do more TV and more 76 on the 27th.
Maybe we could run a rerun. We can set up one of the AJs, put it in the right settings, press play.
Record our own commentary.
Hey, I'm just thinking, we'll call it Rampancy.net's Blast from the Past. We'll show a random old school one and see if we can torture people with it. Okay, so anybody else want to say anything before we bail?
Nope.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of the series.
Okie dokie. All right, well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We certainly hope you enjoyed the Rampancy.net playthrough of 76 and review of Fallout the TV show. Please feel free to check out all of our exciting adventures on our YouTube channel at Rampancy.net. And for all the schedule listings, updates, changes, please feel free to check out our schedule listings at Rampancy.net/schedule. So until next time, I am Blackstar, he is Narcogen, he is JL, she is Leah Crow. That other guy was Funkmon. And of course, Scrambles. We are Rampancy. And we certainly hope to catch all of you next time. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.